everyone. Good to see all of you. There's like a lot of people here this morning, and my cats are attacking me. Oh my gosh. This cat is too much with my hair today. Good morning to everyone. Good to see all of you. I see Amber. Good morning. Thank you. Yes, hit the like button, share if you can. Today's Friday, so we're going to try to have some fun. Good morning, Nikki. Good to see you here. It's really early. Ugh, I keep having to grab my cat because I have like 3 sets of eyelashes on my mirror right here, and he thinks that they're bugs, and he wants to get them, and you need to stop it. Why do you got to do that this morning? Now I know where my missing eyelashes have been going. Somewhere around this house because of him. Yes, Kitty. Good morning, Warren. Good morning, Les Bones. Yeah, it's Burton. He's a fucking pain in my ass right now. He is just a hell on wheels. Look at him today. He just doesn't care. He's crazy. Good morning, John. Good to see you. Thank you for sneaking off from work to say, hey, Cape Socialist. Good to see you. Thank you for all that you're doing. You are absolutely amazing. Holly, good morning. What's up, dude? Do you want to say hi too? Are you trying to say hi? No. And there he goes, trying to get my eyelashes again. He's so crazy. No. Ugh. I got to take the eyelashes down. Yeah, sunshine, no like kittens. I know, exactly, Nikki. I was saying that too. Like, everybody's on right now. Holy shit. It's good to see everyone. It's because it's Friday. Friday's for fun days. Oh, he's just chilling. Oh, the babies. Does it look like your babies? Oh, yeah, I noticed that when I saw yours looks a lot like him and his mama's. That gray striped kind of, but he's my floofball. He is so fucking fluffy. Dude, just go. I thought taking off his balls was gonna calm him down, but I think it just made it worse. Because now he's like forever a child. He won't grow up. But it's better than spraying, I'll give it that. So yes, that's right. Oh, that's right. It's Veterans Day. That's why everybody's off. Okay. My kid is off school today too, and I totally forgot. I didn't wake her up this morning because it's Veterans Day. Well, good jujus to all the veterans. I hope they're getting everything that they hope and desire. I know there's a lot of veterans that aren't doing very well. So I hope veterans take this day and relax and get at least drunk today, because that's a good thing to do sometimes when, you're having a day. It's like your special day. I know I like to get drunk when it's my birthday, so I don't. You got a job. Oh, you don't get today off. That sucks when like there's like holidays and stuff for work, but you still have to work like in the service industry. So yeah, what we get. Sorry. Sunshine said by Kitty. Aw. So what did I do? Oh my gosh. Okay. If any of you guys have PC games or play PC games, or it's coming, Les Bones, or have an Xbox and you buy games off of there, I'm telling you guys, if you all can get grounded, this game is so fucking fun. Me and Les Bones played this game for a few hours last night or yesterday, and it was so much fun. Between me and Les Bones, though, I swear we're just gonna die. We're not even like, there's no point of us actually trying to even try to beat the game, because one of us gets lost and dies. One of us finds a bug and dies. One of us goes off searching and gets attacked by bugs and dies. It was hilarious last night. It was so fucking funny to try to figure out what to do next. Poor Les Bones has no idea how to play the damn game. And the only reason why I knew a little bit on how to play is because I do a lot of research before I start playing the game, so that way I don't get lost. Because if I get lost, I'm like, all right, it was a waste of $40. I don't want to play the game again, and I don't want to do that. So yeah, we had fucking fun. Oh, good. He messaged you today. He's going to try to join us. I'm telling you guys, if you guys can get the game, you got to get on there and you got to join us and we can all play this game together. It is so much fun. We ended up turning on the arachnophobia settings like all the way up so that way we wouldn't have to be scared of spiders, but they did it so well that we couldn't even tell that they were spiders. They look like these like two balls of like, I don't even know, like in the game that looks like sap, like how sap would look in like its circular form. It looks like two sap balls that are like just sitting there running around. And so there was a couple times where I couldn't even tell it was a spider. So we're going to turn those settings off today and actually be scared. So, cause they were scary and yeah, it gets nuts. Like that game was, whoo, absolutely nuts. I found a quick short little video of like the stupid, hey, you guys, y'all can stop fighting. That would be really great, you two. Did you not hear me? Did you not hear me? Did you not hear me? I said you can be nice. Oh, it doesn't run on Linux. Oh, that sucks. It's such here. I'm gonna show you. This is the spider arachnophobia thing that they were showing or that they were doing, and this is how we would see everything. So here's the fucking you're all like, no. Dude, it's not even the dogs, it's the two cats. It's mom and son. They get into like, because he won't grow up, so he like tries to attack his mom and his mom just hisses at him like, no, son, don't do this shit. And he's just like, come on, mom, I want to keep trying. He's ridiculous. Yeah, I've realized last night I have a house full of animals. I've got 3 cats and 2 dogs. 1 dog isn't mine, I'm babysitting, but still, I've got 3 cats and 2 dogs. So here's the yeah, it's pretty much like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Oh, is the dog? Oh, you're talking about that one. Yeah, that's the one that's not mine. Here, really quick. Yeah, him. That's Dodger. That's the one that's not mine. He's a pain in my ass. I fucking hate him. He pees and poops everywhere. I can't leave like any kind of food trash anywhere because he will attack it. He climbs up on tables and eats stuff. He's pretty bad. He's a bad boy. A lot. But he's raised by my sister, so I could see why he's a bad boy. Plus, my sister has more animals than I do. She's got like, hey, you two, stop fighting. My sister's got like 4 or 5 cats, and then she's got a few dogs, and he's the smallest of the dogs. She's got like some kind of long-haired, I don't even know what it is. What her other dog is, but she has like colors like a German Shepherd, but she's got long hair. And then my sister also has a pit bull. So how do you think he acts? Like a fucking pit bull. So it's ridiculous. Yeah, he's a cute little baddie. Exactly. And that's exactly how I feel as like a fucking animal hoarder. I really, really do. But there's nothing I can do. I mean, these cats and these dogs are just stuck with me. I'm stuck babysitting my sister's dog until she finds a house, because she's been homeless her and her family's been homeless almost 5 months now. I think it's been about 5 months now. And then with the cats, I bought one, Odin, the big one. I had to get him because of mice around here. So I've had him for a lot longer than Mama. The Mama Izzy, I've had for almost a year. And then she got pregnant. That's what this whole summer was all crazy about. And she had 5 babies. I was able to get rid of 4, but Burton, every time I try to bring somebody over to see him, he goes and hides, and I can't even hold him. Like he just jumps out of my hand and runs away and hides. And people are like, he's just not meant to be with us. So I've had 3 people come by and try to see him, and he's done the same thing. So I'm just kind of like, I guess he's stuck here with us. He just doesn't want to leave. He really loves it here. I don't know. Burton, you hear it? Hey, you guys stop fighting. Yeah, it was nuts. I have one dog, this one. My mom has the long-haired dog, and she had to keep the pit bull with her because nobody else would. They recently had to take back the cats because my sister's father-in-law was watching them, but he was being really mean to them, like would not let them leave this one room ever. Like they were in this one room for like over a month. And my sister's husband would have to go there every day after work and feed, water, change out the cat litter box on these cats. And his dad just didn't do shit for him. So they ended up taking him back. So yeah, they've got, they're homeless, but they're staying at their friend's house. It's like my sister's best friend and her husband and their 2 kids. And he works at Paramount, so he makes pretty decent money. So they've got like a 2-story house with a nice big backyard out in the middle of, you know, a high desert in California. So they've got a nice yard and stuff. It's just, they have like 2 really big dogs too. So it's just a lot of work. New channel? Why'd you have to make a new channel? What happened? Wait, that's not Yona. Old Yona channel of 18 years and hundreds of hours of content. Did they strike you or something? That's some bull crap, Yona. Yeah, see, like, are you backed up on Rumble? Channel hit with 2 strikes an hour before you got off work. They struck you 2 times in a row on one time on one event? You're gotta be fucking kidding me. I thought I was in the eye of Sauron. Okay, so you still have some, but you lost. Oh no, Yona. Okay, at least you got some stuff. I couldn't even imagine. We're going to have to get you hooked up on other channels. We'll get you on like Rumble, Twitch, all of those other ones. That way they don't do that to you. Yeah, no, have a good day at work. We'll see you tonight. You guys go check out Warren, give him a follow. He's going to be live tonight. I'm going to join him on Saturday so I can have a night off tonight. But I will definitely be in the comments for sure. So I wonder what he would say if he had those buttons where animals speak. Thank you, Yona. I cannot believe that happened to you. Yeah, exactly. YouTube is really the fucking worst. So, all right, hold on really quick. Okay, it's good. It's on good audio or on good settings. So here's this game. It literally feels like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. It's hey, Burton, leave your mom alone. Burton, come here, buddy. God, every time I want to do something, hey, right, stop. Just quit. No, you quit. Sir. This is a Wendy's. Sir. Okay. So here's the game. Jesus H. Mary Joseph. Goodness gracious. Great balls of fire. Good Lord. So here's the game. And if you look right in like this area, here's the spiders right here. So like, I guess this is, forewarning, Les Bones, this is like a little horde of spiders, which we haven't found yet, but this was really scary to see. So like, here's what the spiders look like normally. Okay, it is on normal. So like, here's the normal spiders. And you see how like, did you see the grass? You see how the grass is moving like that? That shit's fucking terrifying seeing that from like out in the distance like that. Oh, it's the worst feeling ever. It is a horrible feeling to see that grass moving from afar. So you try to run. There's the spiders, how they look normally without the arachnophobia part on. So this guy, what he does is he goes in here and changes it to all the different levels. So that's on 0. Oh, shit is so funny. So there's them on 1. You see how like the scariness just completely goes away. Oh no, that's on full. Oh, shit is so hilarious. So, hey, I know Burton is being a jerk, but okay, so here's them normal. That's how they look. Absolutely terrifying. Probably the scariest thing I've ever seen in a video game next to underwater monsters. And then, so there's the next one down. It looks like they just took the legs off. Oh, it's so crazy. There's the next one. I guess it has no more mouth. Stop! I guess it has no more mouth. Lady. And then all the facial features are gone on number 4. And so this last one is how we played it yesterday, which makes it super, super hard to even tell if it's a goddamn spider anymore. There. That shit was so funny. We were killing these things yesterday. But this game is such a blast just to go out there, and you got to build armor and, upgrade your weapons and make new weapons. And it's just so fun. And I definitely want to get some more people. Me and Les Bones, like I said, me and Les Bones played yesterday. I want to get some more people on this. It looks like it would be such a blast with people, a group of people going out and doing it. So I think that would be so much fun. It was such a great game yesterday. I can't believe I had so much fun because I was absolutely terrified. So seeing the game, like being able to play with somebody else, kind of helped out with a lot of the fears, because I wasn't doing it by myself, I wasn't like, oh God, I'm like seriously alone in this. It was really nice having somebody else there to be able to play with. So that way, it made me less fearful of going and exploring a little bit more and doing stuff, because at least I knew I had somebody there. So in case I got scared, I could just turn around and be like, Les Bones, are you still around, bro? It was so much fun. It was such a blast. I want to get some of you guys on this. It is super, super fun game. I didn't do too much other than that. My kid's out of school today, so she's probably going to be popping up in a little bit to grab some food, because that's what teenagers do, unless she still has food down there. I know she took like some grapes and sunflower seeds down there last night, so I'm pretty sure she still has some food hidden down there, because you know how teenagers are. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a blast. We got to do it again. Like I said, I don't have to be on Warren's show today, so we can play before Warren starts doing his show tonight. I'm down. I'm always down. As soon as I'm done editing and clipping these videos out, I've been dreaming about it and thinking about it, so I'm definitely going to hop on and play some more. But you have to host it though, because yours is the one that has where we're at right now. I don't have that one. So yeah, I don't play too many multiplayer games. Fortnite was my very first one I ever played, and that was it. Other than that, I've always been too scared to play with other people, just because other people are mean and I can't deal with that shit. I don't deal with it very well. So I definitely don't play very many multiplayer, but I've always watched people like the game Grounded that we're playing now. I've been watching that game in development for the last 2 years, and have watched YouTubers play with their friends on multiplayer. And that's where I was just like, okay, this looks like it could actually be really fun with people if I could get some people on it. Because yeah, I've been watching that game for building and making and creating and doing more and more stuff, the whole game developers, for about 2 years now. So it's definitely new and interesting. So okay, you're gonna host it. All right, good. Because yeah, you've got the game where we're at right now. If I go back into my own game, I'm starting back at the laser thing again. So you've got the game. All right. So what I have for today for news, a couple of really interesting things, and then maybe we'll get into some more, or into some fun stuff. I figure we can look into Hurricane Nicole that's happening in Florida. I know that somebody said something about that in the comment section this morning, that there were remnants of Nicole, which I found some really interesting stuff. It looks like they found an ancient burial ground out there. They're saying that the bones that they found are like over 200 years old, that the hurricane brought back up, which was really interesting. In Virginia, there is a restaurant that had a 9/11 menu. I can't remember exactly the names of all of it, but I do have the article that we can read. It's titled Virginia Restaurant 9/11 Menu that features classless dish names. Like there were some really interesting ones. We'll go over it. Then something really interesting that's going on in the UK, I believe, or in Europe. So in Harry Potter, there is a character named Dobby. If you know, I love Dobby. That's kind of like my dog's nickname because of her ears. So in real life, like where they actually shot this scene for location, in the movie is where Dobby, spoiler alert, Dobby has passed away in the movie. And where they shot this part was an actual location on a beach with a lot of rocks in the UK. And so what's really interesting that's happening over there is so when Dobby in the movie is freed, you have to give him an article of clothing, and Dobby was free. So in the movie, Harry Potter gives Dobby a sock and frees the elf from the Draco family. And so Dobby ends up helping out Harry Potter throughout all the rest of the books until he passes away in Harry Potter's arms. And so where that location was shot, the actual city or the area itself has recently started asking people to not bring socks to that location for the Dobby Memorial, because people have made a Dobby Memorial there. And so they've asked people to not bring any socks anymore because it's actually harming the environment in that area. So I decided we can probably, or we could talk about that. And then whatever else you guys want to talk about. It's really hard to find news right now. It is almost impossible because everybody is still talking about the midterms. Things are still trickling out. Looks like from yesterday, Lauren Boebert might be in the lead again, which fucking sucks. Raphael Warnock and Walker are going to be going into a runoff. Which I have a video I actually want to show you guys. Even though I'm not religious and I'm super anti-religious, Warnock did one of his sermons at his church, and it was released on TikTok. And it was really, really, really good. Like, you know how back in the day we used to, people used to listen to these politicians and they would say these things and people would get super excited and stuff. He's got that nostalgic, like, almost like that Martin Luther King type feel with the, the way that religious sermon people talk, obviously, but then with like, I don't know, it was really interesting to see him with his speech at his church talking about the elections and all of that. So we might go through and talk about it. Talk about that. And then what else is going on in the midterms? There's like, I guess in Maricopa County, I think somebody is like, I think the GOP or somebody in the state GOP is going to be suing because of the ballot machines. Man, shit has been that's all everyone is talking about right now. And it's really, really hard to find any other kind of news other than like a 9/11 menu, the Florida hurricane, and like a Dobby Memorial. It's so, so hard. I also have like the Nikita Dragon situation that's been going on. Like it's almost impossible to find anything other than the same exact news repeating over and over and over again. So Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman, passed away at 66. Ooh, wait. Is that the funny old school Batman? Kevin Conroy. Yep, that's the old school Batman with the gray spandex and the black tidy whities. No, it's not. It's a different one. He just played the voice of that one. Okay. The cartoons. Oh, he played the voice of the cartoons. Aw. That sucks. Yeah, you got to be more specific about the Batman. Nikita Dragon, yeah. She decided to be a spoiled fucking brat at a hotel in Miami. Got arrested, but they were purposely misgendering her in jail, put her in with the men's jail. So there's like video that came out of her talking to the judge and asking if she can be released or be put in a different area other than the men's jail. And she started crying, and it went super viral. A lot of people got really, really upset about it. Seeing how she was, could possibly have been raped in jail and stuff like that, because she does identify as a female. But I guess it was really, really cool. The next morning, I believe, the judge released. Oh no, they didn't release her out on OR. They only gave her like a $2,000 bail, which was pretty cheap for what she makes. So I got video and found some videos on TikTok of her actually being released from jail. Some people went and picked her up there. But yeah, she got arrested. Which is really interesting because usually there's like a lot of news about her. She's always in the news over some kind of controversy, and she's just been so quiet this whole year. And then like, bam, all right, Nikita's back. So yeah. Oh, the voice of Batman. Okay. It's not all the time. It doesn't really happen a lot. And it's more often like, especially in men's jail, it's usually more like fighting, gang banging, more like there's a lot of color separation, like the whites hang with the whites, the blacks hang with the blacks, the Mexicans hang with the Mexicans. Sometimes they'll interject in between each other. That's more, hey, you two, stop. There is, rapes and stuff like that does happen in jail, but she's not in prison. She was supposed to be only in like a substation or the county, which that's, yeah, it doesn't happen a lot. And I don't think that she should be raped. I don't think she should be raped. Still no one knows. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've been to jail a couple times and I never got raped. I got into some fights, but never got raped. But you can't rape the willing anyway, so. Jesus Christ, Scott Ritter said, blood in, blood out, bitch. Jeez. Is he still going? I've been seeing him on he's on Richard Medhurst recently a lot. It's like ever since he came back to Twitter really quick and then got banned again, he's been on Richard Medhurst a buttload. Nobody F with him, right? Yeah, wait, what's going on? He's on Garland Nixon like once a week. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I've been seeing him a lot now. That's so weird too. Is because like I've never even heard of this guy before this whole him coming back to Twitter like for 2 days. Yeah, it looks like a lot of his videos are old school. Filter updated this week. Judge Napolitano, he's on that a lot. At least 3 times. Oh, those are just clips, I think. Yeah, he's all over the place. Oh, yeah, show you? Okay. This is what I'm looking. I'm looking. Speak on stopping nuclear war. Expanded Russian army. Yeah, see, Judge Napolitano. He's on this guy like a lot, see? I mean, is this guy cool? He just seems like one of those. There he is on Richard Medhurst 5 days ago, see? Crimea bridge attack was a dumb move by Ukraine. So he's just a anti-Ukraine, or is he an anti-war person? Let me hold on. Let me go into the chat and then bring it up, and then it'll come up in my Let me go. Okay. Ooh, Scott Ritter, Extra, Episode 11, Ask the Inspector. Okay, I think I watched it enough to where it'll be in my history now, and I can pull it up on my computer. Yeah. Damn. He tried to fuck who he thought was an underage girl while married. Jesus Christ, twice. He did get set up, though, but he took that pedo bait. Oh, lordy. Well, look at him. Of course he would.
And also coping. You know, we're kind of framing our podcast as a commiseration. Tori was telling me how she's, kind of overcome sometimes.
So intro, time for Russia to escalate, world war between East and West.
So I was saying.
So is he pro-war, pro-war?
You declare war when you've been attacked. There's things. This isn't war. This is a special military operation.
I'm surprised we haven't even go to 28 minutes. Okay, I'm surprised we haven't even started going into war yet, because literally World War I was started by somebody killing a man named Franz Ferdinand, and that literally is what started World War I.
Constitution of Russia. He's responsible.
Okay, go to 28 minutes.
Literally, I have the documentation that they submitted to the court that proves it. The prosecutor saying we can't convict based upon this because it's insufficient to prove a crime, because we can't prove that a crime was committed. What we need to do is manufacture a case, pull in things and fundamentally do something. And we said, you can't do that. And the judge went, no, we'll let them do that. The judge literally allowed them to manufacture a crime. And then we were prohibited from defending ourselves, exculpatory. I'll give you an example. I don't go into too much detail here, but it's a computer-based crime, right? I mean, that's what I was alleged of, computer-based crime. Why then, when I tried to turn over my computer to the prosecutor to say, here it is, where's the crime? The prosecutor went, oh, we don't want to touch the computer. No. So then we turned the computer, spent a lot of money, turning it over to forensic investigators, and they went through it and they said, there ain't nothing here. So then we took it to a guy who spent 28 years. He was one of the leaders in the task force against crimes against children. This is the guy that convicts all the bad people. And we said, we want you to go through the computer. And he wrote back and he said, and I've got the letters. I mean, one of these days I'll write a book and it'll all become clear, but I'm not doing that right now because I'm busy talking about Ukraine. But he said, we don't do this. And we said, why don't you do this? And he said, because everybody says they didn't do anything. And then you give us the computer and we find that they did something. And so we're advising you not to do this, because once we go through your computer, you're going to have to turn it over to the prosecutor and they're going to nail your ass to the wall. And my lawyer's like, well, Scott, we better not do that. I said, give him the goddamn computer. And he did. The guy came back with a letter. He said, in my entire career, I have never written a letter like this, where somebody gave me a computer, said they didn't do it, and I went through it and found out they didn't do it. And he listed all the things. He said, no, he wrote a big letter. So we were going to bring him in as an expert witness. The prosecution said, no, judge, you can't allow this to happen. And the judge went, you're right. We're not going to allow the witness. We're not going to allow his statement. We're not going to allow his investigation. Wow. It's a computer crime, but you can't bring in the guy that invested the computer. The prosecution wouldn't. Instead, the prosecution reached out and pulled a sealed file. Sealed. They got it unsealed illegally. They submitted false testimonies, including the document that said, we can't prosecute him unless you unseal this file in New York related to 2001 incident, which was not found to be criminal. They sealed it for a reason. But you can't unseal it, but they got him to unseal it. We challenged that. The judge said, if you don't want me to allow this evidence in, you're going to have to go to the New York court system and have the New York court system judge whether or not it was sealed or unsealed illegally. We did so. Unanimous decision by the New York Supreme Court said it was done illegally. This stuff should never be allowed into trial. The judge said, screw it, we're allowing it in trial anyways. And but it's not it. What they allowed in the trial was only part of the total record. I'll provide a hint that the public's not aware of. I spoke at the detective that arrested me. He did a forensic computer thing on my computers. They came and seized my computers. And he came back and wrote about it. And he said, we found nothing on the computers, nothing. That's why I wasn't prosecuted. They said, there's nothing on the computers. There's no evidence of crime here at all. That report disappeared, by the way. When they turned over my file to Pennsylvania, that report disappeared. You don't know where it happened. No one knows what happened to that report. But there was a whole bunch of other stuff in there too that disappeared, wasn't there. They said they turned over the total file. They did not. They turned over hand-picked things, which taken out of context seemed to imply guilt. Imply guilt of what? I was never charged with a crime in New York. The case was dismissed. The file was sealed. That's what you do in cases like this. You seal the file, never to be released. But instead, Pennsylvania got it released, cherry-picked it, brought it into the trial, and they manufactured a case, and I was convicted. I've been appealing it ever since. They told me, I remember going to the pretrial hours where I'm supposed to be grilled by my lawyers about what's going to happen at the trial. And instead, they sat there and they said, Scott, you need to plead guilty. They're going to put 40 years out there. You're going to go to jail for 40 years. I said, I will never plead guilty. They said, 40 years. If you plead guilty to this one charge, they'll give you all parole. You'll never go to prison. I said, innocent men don't plead guilty, especially to the charges that are put out there. I won't do it. We're going to trial. And we did. And they lost. It's a different issue. But I've been appealing it ever since. When I went to prison, that's pretty
much what they all do. They always say that. They always tell you just to plead no contest, that you're guilty. You don't have to explain anything. You do a short amount of time and you'll be in and out, no problem. That's what I ended up doing when I went to jail. Just plead guilty, plead no contest, say you did it. Don't explain anything and just do your time and get out. They always try to do that to get you to just not go to trial, not have to waste their time. So so he's not even out here in the USA? Who is this guy? That's gross. That's disgusting. He's disgusting. But yeah, okay, so he's telling the truth of what's going on. Hey, I'm on TV. Good morning. Good morning. I guess we should say, what, South Africa? No, I'm just kidding. Good to see you. Thank you for putting me on the TV. Yeah, you can see all my flaws.
Yes, for all you studs out there. You want to see how manly you are? Go to prison on a sex offender charge. Try it. I dare you. You know what they do to sex offenders in prison? They fuck them up. You know what they didn't do to me?
About that.
Fuck me up. Want to know why? Because the first thing sex offender does in prison is hide. They run away. They tell them, don't talk about your case. Don't do anything. I came into prison and said, read the fucking paperwork. And they all read it and they went, why are you here? I said, that's a good question. The guards even said it. Why the fuck are you here? The warden, why the fuck are you here? None of them could explain it, but I had to be there because I was convicted in a court in a sham trial. You know who picks on sex offender the most? Gangs, Latin Kings, Crips, Bloods. They don't like sex offenders.
Right, because they shouldn't. Nobody should like sex offenders.
What did I do? Went straight up to him. I went and played basketball. You got, oh, well, you played a game. Wow, really? Go play basketball in the fucking prison, dude. Try it. Try and walk on the basketball court. White dude. Walk on a basketball court dominated by Crips and Bloods. It's blood in, blood out, bitch. You go in there and you have to fight your way on the court. You're fighting the entire game, elbows to the face, knees to the groin. They're biting, they're kicking, and they're testing you. They're seeing what kind of man you are. And if you take it and you give it back to them, then you're allowed on the basketball court. That's the way it works. I did that. I won the respect. Bloods, Crips, the Latin Kings.
It's the prison game. You just got to play the game while you're in there. When people say it's a whole nother world inside prison, they're not fucking lying. It's a whole nother world inside there. When you go in, you got to just not think about the outside world, do your time, play the game, and get out alive. So, right, the hardest thing he did was play b-ball. He's like, I got respect from playing basketball with those motherfuckers. The Crips and Bloods, they love me now because I can shoot a 3-pointer.
Respect. They turned around and they helped a couple of them out with some cases. They'd come to me and say, hey, what do you think about this? I got 3 sentences reduced. I got a couple sentences thrown out. I got some new trials on people. By the time I left prison, there was the warden and the administrator of the block I was on had given a pass. People come to my cell to get legal advice, and there'd be a line of people lining up. And the guards were like, "What the fuck is going on? We don't understand this." But so there was that. So again, sex offenders don't get treated like that in prison. I was treated like that. And then the last thing is, you can't be paroled. I was given a 5.5-year sentence. I was told by my lawyers that if you don't plead guilty to the crime, you're going to spend all 5.5 years in prison. I was paroled at 3 years. How did that happen, you say? I didn't plead guilty. I didn't plead. What I did is, when I had to take this specific sex offender treatment course, they said, you have to plead guilty to your sex crimes. I said, I committed no sex crime. They said, well, then you'll never graduate. And I said, I'll tell you what I'll do. I brought my entire file in. I threw it on the table. I said, I plead guilty to everything that's in this file. Everything in there, I did. I did it all. None of it's a crime. None of it's a crime. And they sat there and they picked it apart, and they couldn't come up with a fucking crime. This is the guy that's responsible for curing me. And he went, there's no crime. Then he went to the warden. He said, we have to graduate him. He did everything we asked him to do. They said, but did he plead guilty? He said, he's not guilty of anything. He admitted to everything, and none of it's a crime. And I went to the
He's got some pretty big followers. This guy's like believing him, and he just gave him $500 or whatever, 500 of this money. So is he lying? Is that what is happening? Is he really lying? This shit's wild if he is. Like, did he really show his pee-pee and shit? Jesus Christ. Yeah, because, I mean, if he even had this charge, I don't think he would be out on the yard. I think he would get PC'd up, especially with, like, who he is. You would think, yeah, it almost doesn't feel like it could be, like, because, like I said, when you have those kinds of crimes, they PC you up. They put you in protective custody, separate from everyone else. And you're in a separate area with other people who are PC'd up. And you're treated a little bit different. Right. He told on the government. So that's probably, yeah. I mean, there's a possibility that the government came up with this stuff because, he told on the government. But then there's also a possibility that he really did do this stuff and he just doesn't want to admit it. But yeah, I don't see how he got put into the yard with everyone where he had to sit there and prove himself with a basketball game if he has that charge. And if he's this well known, they would put him in a separate area. So his story sounds fake. Yeah. It just because, I mean, it could be true, but just because of what I know of the prison system, it just doesn't seem like he would be out on the yard with people with that kind of case, for one, and his popularity, for two. Like Bill Cosby. Look at what they did to Bill Cosby. They separated him and put him in another area. Harvey Weinstein, they did the same thing. This is what they do to people who have sex offender charges. So he got set up, but he fell for that shit twice. That's just the one that he got caught with. Okay, that makes sense.
The board told him the same thing. They recommended me for parole. You should have seen. I've got the letters. I've got the paperwork. They're writing. They're saying, how the fuck are we paroling this guy? He didn't plead guilty. Why are we letting him go? Why is the warden doing this? They did it because I'm not fucking guilty. So, hey, Christian, there's my short answer for you, buddy. You want to talk about that? I just gave you some ammunition. Talk about it. But do me a favor. If somebody brings it up, tell them to fuck off. Tell them Ritter's talking about Ukraine. Let's talk about Ukraine. If you want to talk about something else, that's your sick problem. And to everybody else out there, you want to call me a pedophile? Call it to my face. You won't fucking walk away. Blood in, blood out, bitch. But no, we're not playing that game. You're a keyboard warrior. You want to sit there and told them the same thing. They recommended me for parole. You should have seen. I've got the letters. I've got the paperwork. They're writing. They're saying, how the fuck are we paroling this guy? He didn't plead guilty. Why are we letting him go? Why is the warden doing this? They did it because I'm not fucking guilty. So, hey, Christian, there's my short answer for you, buddy. You want to talk about that? I just gave you some ammunition. Talk about it. But do me a favor. If somebody brings it up, tell them to fuck off. Tell them Ritter's talking about Ukraine. Let's talk about Ukraine. If you want to talk about something else, that's your sick problem. And to everybody else out there, you want to call me a pedophile? Call it to my face. you won't fucking walk away. Blood in, blood out, bitch. But no, we're not playing that game. You're a keyboard warrior. You want to sit there and type.
Did he just say, come and say it to my face and then say blood in, blood out, bitch? How long did he do in jail? Like a week, and he's acting like this? You're kidding me, right? This is a joke, right? This is a joke. This has got to be a fucking joke that he's acting like this. Like, you can't just go to prison for like a solid 2 weeks and then come out thinking that you're some tough gangster ass motherfucker. Are you kidding me? He literally said that with a straight face and glasses and hair parted to the side. He just straight up said that shit. Come on now. I'm like 5'3" and 115 pounds, and I'm like wanting to go over there just to say to his face, just to see what he would say. I want to test you.
Words and tickle and giggle and all that shit. Fuck off. I apologize, Jeff, but it's just, there it is. I laid it out there. Someday I'll write the book about it. It's a travesty of justice. I've been appealing this nonstop. There's still an appeal in Pennsylvania. If we want to talk about the court process and how
and yes, also, yeah, exactly. I'm sorry. I don't want to sound like I'm like super just against this guy and being biased and judgmental, but man, like Nikki says, I've met a lot of dirty old men in my life, and he definitely brings that bar. So for sure. Yeah, he gives me the vibe.
The time too. But bottom line is, if we're talking about Ukraine, let's talk about Ukraine. And let's not talk about anything else.
Well, as you said, there's a book or a movie or something in all this at some point in the future, but not right now. I'll go on to the next question. Masoud Roya from Germany. Thousands of foreign mercenaries.
Oh, you taking questions now? Why isn't Russia using mercenaries? Thoughts on Christmas? Worst Russian military error. Russian strikes on power plants. Damn, this motherfucker went on forever. Exactly, just like Andrew Tate. Speaking of which, Andrew Tate recently is like back again as well. He went on that English talk show or the English news show. What is the one that's in England where that dude that like liked Meghan Markle and she totally rejected him? He went on that recently. Exactly. Broken clocks twice a day. I mean, sometimes, yeah, you're right. He does say some good. Why is my YouTube not responding? Jesus Christ. Andrew Tate. Did he go on Mother of All talk shows as well? This week, I believe, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, returns to debate Piers Morgan. This is it right here.
Well, joining me now is Andrew Tate.
No. This guy.
Online, but he's been banned from pretty much every mainstream social media platform, including Twitter. Andrew Tate, welcome back to Piers Morgan Uncensored. Your take on this, I think, is quite interesting because you've been a victim of being, if victim's the right word, but you've been removed from social media platforms for your opinions. Elon Musk has dedicated himself, he says, to restoring free speech.
Look at him, like a month off of fucking Twitter, and this guy looks like he's bored to death. He's sitting there begging, like in his mind, like, please let this interview bring me back on Twitter because I'm fucking bored. Maybe he's a changed man. Maybe being off the internet changed him. We can always hope, Is that what it is? He's gonna never mind. He hasn't changed. He hasn't changed one fucking bit. I'd actually like to see that. That would be a really interesting fight, actually, because either way, one of them is gonna get their ass beat, and I've been dying to see either one of those two guys get their ass beat anyways. If they could just both lose and beat each other's ass to a bloody pulp, that would be hilarious. But if it actually came down to like betting on one or the other, I would have to say I hate Andrew Tate more than I hate Logan Paul. So I would probably bet for Logan, even though I really want to see Logan Paul get his face knocked up really bad. But yeah, I think, yeah, with the way that Logan Paul has been training like crazy. I mean, he even comes up here to Big Bear where in my mountains because he bought like some kind of this like huge bear statue that's made out of wood. This guy grabs like huge woods out here and carves them up and makes really interesting, unique statues. And Logan Paul ended up buying our big famous one that's out here, and he took it. That motherfucker. I'm so mad about that. But he trains up here. He comes out to really high elevations and trains. And so I think with his training, with Logan Paul's training, I think that he could probably win Andrew Tate. Because I've never seen if Andrew Tate, I mean, obviously he does train. Look at him. He's got muscles. So he does do some kind of workout. But I'm not sure if he could win Logan Paul. That's actually, if we really seriously looked into it, be a really interesting fight to see who would win. Logan Paul is a rare talent. Logan Paul is a blonde piece of shit. Him and his stupid ass brother. Jesus Christ. Talk about the two most annoying dudes on social media next to these misogynistic dudes. I mean, Logan Paul and his brother are kind of misogynistic too, just in a more like content creation friendly, family friendly kind of way, even though, you know, one of them did get busted for showing off dead bodies in a forest in Japan. So
Speech. Do you think that's going to include you, for example?
I don't think it matters if it includes me or not. I think what's important is that free speech is the #1 weapon against absolute tyranny. And although you cannot have complete free speech because then conversations completely break down into asinine insult fests, I do like the idea of the changing of the guard when it comes to control over information.
Is it possible?
He likes the changing of the guard when it comes to control of information. So secretly an innuendo saying, Elon, can you please bring me back on Twitter? I want to make some shit statements again.
To actually police something like Twitter, to be a platform for genuine free speech? Or is it so toxic and tribal now that whatever happens, you know, before we had all the people on the right screaming away that they were being no platformed and so on. Now you've got all the people on the left screaming that they're being diminished in some way. It's very tribal, very toxic. Can Musk cut through that? And if so, how?
Yeah, it's going to be extremely difficult. There's always going to be one group of people who are extremely unhappy, but I think that anybody who's perspicacious enough to understand the truth of what's been going on in the world recently will know that the left and their narratives have certainly been protected for a very long time. And the universe has swings and balances, and God often restores balance to the universe, and perhaps it might swing the other way for a while. I truthfully am a person who believes that all points of view are extremely important, because as soon as you block points of view, you have absolute tyranny.
And in a way,
he's hoping things will swing the opposite way. Why do people keep stealing my pendulum idea? Everybody is like, I swear, it's either everybody is like, I put it out into the ether that like these issues, these hot button issues are like pendulums. I don't know if you've talked to me and hung out with me long enough, you've heard me talk about how I see things as a pendulum. And I swear it's either I put it out into the ether so other people are starting to say it, or I'm starting to notice other people are saying it more often because I've been saying it out loud a lot more often and not just in my head. I don't know, but man, everybody's using the pendulum thing and it's wild to me.
It's sort of self-defeating, isn't it? Because you carried on getting huge attention. It was interesting to me that when you came on the show, for example, we've had, I think, nearly 6 million.
Looks like he's having some sound problems.
The whole interview that we did, which is a huge number of people, certainly far higher than watched it on conventional television. So you have a whole world out there online which operates away from social media platforms.
Yeah, I've been very, very successful in spite of them, but not many people can do that. I'm in a pretty unique position, but I think that everybody needs a voice to a degree, and social media platforms are now the most important platforms on the planet. They control information and they influence real world decisions. and they influence people's perception of reality. The last few years of COVID have been a perfect example of what happens when you censor one side of the argument. And you
are
allow
so
one.
right, Nikki. I don't think you're a whiner, but you're right. He is. He sounds. I mean, pretty much if you took all of what he's saying right here and took it out and looked at the bigger picture of everything, he's pretty much asking for his Twitter back. That's all he wants. He just wants his Twitter back.
Point of view to be purported by the Matrix in and of itself, and that's how you end up in tyrannical situations. I think you were just discussing that, Piers.
Yeah, and I think that's a perfectly valid point. You know, people have quite rightly held me to task over some of the positions I took during the COVID pandemic, notably when the scientists said as a definitive fact that you couldn't transmit the virus if you had the vaccine. It turned out that wasn't true. And I based my observations on that supposed fact and said, right, well, in that case, if you refuse to be vaccinated, you shouldn't get the same rights as people who've been vaccinated. If it's true that if you're unjabbed, you can pass it on. It turned out, actually, there's not much difference whether you've been vaccinated or not. And at that point, I changed my mind. But I felt that there were a lot of people who were being deplatformed from Twitter at the time for questioning the validity of scientific statements, and they would then be a complete U-turn. So I do think it was a very interesting period, actually, for testing what free speech means.
It was actually worse than that. You're right, Piers, but it was actually worse than interesting, because what happens is when you censor an entire side of the argument and only allowed one side of the argument to have a voice, you are changing reality in real time. You are shaping the world. The only reason that scam continued as long as it did, and the only reason people didn't get to see their own parents get buried, and the only reason people sat and missed cancer appointments because they were scared of the common cold, was because they were censoring anybody who said anything contrary to the purported version of events that the mainstream media decided they want the entire world to swallow. It's beyond simply interesting, and it's beyond simply funny or coincidental.
Yeah, I mean, I will challenge you.
He's getting so angry about it. Yeah, I mean, yes, they're right about that stuff too. But then you got to be empathetic as well. There was a lot of fucking people that still died. Like, I lost some friends too. So, I mean, I see their point, but I lost some friends that I wouldn't have lost if it wasn't for the cocoa virus too as well. So it was still a scary time. Even if you look at, you know, just that aspect as a human being, it was still a scary time too.
On cold, right? COVID-19 has killed 6.6 million people. It is one of the most deadly viruses, certainly of our lifetime. So it wasn't the common cold, but I do think it is completely justified for people to say we should be more cautious, I think, about accepting during fast-moving pandemics the word of scientists as being sacrosanct, because on a number of things, from the use of masks to the efficacy of vaccines in preventing transmission, they did massive U-turns.
I've read enough history books to know that the people who do the censoring are never the good guys. And they've been censoring a lot of arguments for a very long time in the name of good. They are weaponizing virtue, and it's always in the name of tyranny. Anybody who is out here trying to silence an entire side of an argument on any subject, whether it's COVID-19, immigration, anything else, they are the evil people who are out for absolute mind control of the populace. And they should be
what says the thumb-looking potato man who literally empowers every incel to go and fucking take whatever woman that they want? This guy is full of shit. What?
I certainly agree that I think the healthiest thing for any democracy is for all views to be aired and debated. We seem to have lost the ability to debate. You know, when I interviewed you, yeah, we had a few fractious moments, but actually, I thought it was a pretty spirited debate between people who perhaps had, you know, preconceived views of each other. And I've got no problem interviewing you now about these, because I think you have an interesting take on this stuff.
And that's the key to life.
I swear to God, Andrew looks like he's seriously about to punch the fucking camera. Like, he's like looking at the camera like it looked at him wrong. I'm seriously, like, he is just, he just got this vibe of like pent up anger that just needs to explode really bad. It's wild.
Full of adolescence in your mindset where you can't handle any point of view that is contrary to your own, then you're truly a broken person. And that's what the internet is purporting. It's very interesting you said about Twitter being tribal. There's a large contingent of people on Twitter who simply cannot handle reading an opinion which differs from their own. And that is a degree of immaturity that we do not need adults to be functioning with in the modern world.
No, I
Well,
agree.
then if you don't like it, stay off of Twitter. Don't go back on it because yes, Twitter is full of immature little punk kids, immature grown ass motherfuckers as well. It's just what it is. Twitter's a shithole. That's what it's for. It's what it's there for. There's no reason. It's too late to change it now. So
if you were Elon Musk, this idea of charging $8 now a month, whatever it is, to access the blue tick premium Twitter account, would you do that? Would you pay the extra?
I think that social media companies for a very long time have lived in an absolute fantasy where they've printed money from thin air by charging people for pixels. And they grew into these large conglomerates with too many staff sitting around doing nothing, having coffee breaks. And Elon Musk is a businessman. He's walked into the office and he's firing a bunch of people who are messing around doing nothing. And he wants his business to make money, as it absolutely should. And how he decides that happens is his prerogative. I don't see why we should sit and accept that a website needs 200,000 people sitting around discussing in long meetings, sitting on beanbags about policy of human rights of some garbage, when he's come along and said, no, I'm a businessman. We're going to charge for our service. We're going to reduce the number of staff. And we're going to be a functional, coherent company, as they should be. And it's his prerogative to do it, as he's bought the company. I think he can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, I mean,
would you guys pay for the blue check at all? I mean, like, because they've already started to roll it out on Twitter. I saw it this morning. There's like, if you look in the little menu side bar area, there's a whole area for the blue check now. I tried to change my Twitter handle today because I know there's a couple of emojis in our phone emojis that are check marks. There's a black one, there's a red one, there's a gray one, and there's a green one. And I try to use all of them. And Twitter wouldn't let me. It said that I can't use them. So I threw on a pirate flag and it let me use it. So something's going on in Twitter to where you can't even use the checkmark emojis to make it seem like you have a blue check. Like they're really holding down on these blue check things. So would you guys do it? Would you guys get the blue check over on Twitter? Would you pay the $8? Because I don't know. It seems really interesting. I kind of want to just do it for like a month or two just to see what it does to the Twitter, what it would do to somebody's Twitter. It'd be really interesting to see, like, what are these perks you guys are getting? They make it look very, very, very exciting to use, which sucks. But you're going to troll someone, but now it's too late because they took it away. Damn. You do it only for fun. You don't care about Twitter. Yeah, exactly. Like, same. I'd only do it for a month just to see what the fuck could happen, and then I'm done. I don't want to pay for that shit. No. I hate that. I hate that we have to pay for everything. I was watching Hulu last night, and the commercials on Hulu, which you pay for Hulu. I don't know why you get commercials on there. But on one of the commercials on Hulu was a commercial for Disney Plus. So like these other companies are putting their commercials on these other companies' websites or applications and stuff. It's wild to me how back in the day, you just would get cable and then you would change the channel and that's it. Now it's so different.
Disagree, because I remember the appalling censorship of the New York Post exclusive about Hunter Biden, the son of the president, about his laptop. This is 3 weeks before the election that Joe Biden won. He was heading, to a possible victory, but it was tight. And that story, they reckon, could have tipped it either way. But it was completely suppressed and censored, starting with Twitter, then Facebook, then others. Twitter literally locked out the New York Post account for 2 weeks for breaking a completely true story. I thought that was shameful.
It's worse than shameful. It's worse than shameful. When you control information, you control the real world. They affect the real world in real time. They are genuinely affecting the reality people live in. They are not just a company. They're not just a social media platform. It affects absolutely every single person on the planet when it changes who is elected. I don't want to comment specifically on Hunter Biden or the laptop. I would never kill myself, but I don't think it's fair that they would hide certain key information that close to an election. And the fact that they've done that was done specifically to affect the world that we all live in. And we all have to suffer the consequences of those things. So to sit and say that these companies can just do whatever they want and they're private, etc. No, free speech is beyond important for democracy. It's important for the reality that we exist under.
Andrew Tate, thank you for joining me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I was like Googling it right now. It looks like she changed it to @DojaCat and her name is Fart. Yeah, it's Fart now. I was just looking it up here. Wait, present. She's fucking crazy. I love her so much. She's just wild. Look, Ussy. Cack. She's just too much. Are you trying to be inspirational? No, I just am. I think it's funny as fuck that people are concerned for my mental health because I'm wearing blue lipstick. I know. She's so great. She's fucking hilarious. Her TikToks are like the shit as well. She's awesome. I love her so much. So that's that. The Andrew Tate. Yeah, it just sounds like he wants to go back to Twitter. He just misses Twitter. A lot. A lot. There wasn't, what was the other thing I was wanting to show? Oh yeah, the Herschel Walker. So Herschel Walker on released like a TikTok, I believe. And it was so good talking about the looks like Joel Nunez is banned on TikTok. But he did a really, really, really good video. Or not a video, but like he did a good where would I find favorites? Y'all, I'm so lost. I'm so lost. How would you find favorite settings in TikTok? Because I thought I favorited it. And now I can't find it. I feel like I'm gonna lose. Man, that would suck if I can't find it. I usually, like on the app, you can see likes and then favorites, but on the computer, the only thing you can see is your videos and your likes. So I've got to figure out, did it get taken down? Because that would suck if it got taken down. Let me see if we can find it on YouTube. Maybe YouTube will have it, because that would suck if I can't find the video after I just saved it and everything. Let's see. Warnock speech about walking. No, not about. Warnock speech. We don't need a walker. We need a runner. Maybe that's it. Oh, it's a totally different guy. Holy shit, this isn't even... I thought this was Warnock that did this speech, but it's not. Holy crap. Okay. We'll watch this. I gotta pee so fucking bad. So I'm gonna let you guys watch this. Come on, computer. Why are you acting like this?
This to Georgia so that he could run for Senate. It's because change was taking too fast in the post-antebellum South. The state had been flipped blue, and there are some principalities that were not prepared for a black man and a Jewish man to go to Senate at the exact same time. So they figured that they would delude us by picking somebody who they thought would in fact represent us better with a football than with a degree in philosophy. They thought we were so slow, that we were so stupid, that we would elect the lowest caricature of a stereotypical broken black man as opposed to somebody who is educated and erudite and focused. Y'all ain't ready for me today. Since Herschel Walker was 16 years old, white men been telling him what to do, telling him what school to go to, where to live, where to eat, where to buy a house, where to run, where to sit down, where to sleep, where to pay for abortions, where to buy a gun. And you think they not gonna tell him how to vote? In 2022, we don't need a walker, we need a runner. We need somebody who gonna run and tell the truth about January 6th. We need somebody who gonna run and push for the cancellation of student loan debts. We need somebody who gonna run and make the former president respond to a subpoena. We don't need a walker, we need somebody who will be steadfast, unmovable, always abounding, knowing that your labor is not in vain. Georgia, I need you to know the slave Negroes y'all are used to don't live here no more. We can think for ourselves, function for ourselves, and vote for ourselves. Why? Because we don't need a walker.
I don't know what all those random noises were. That was interesting. But I thought that was really, really cool. Sorry about that. I thought that was really interesting, very unique. Well, not unique. It definitely is like repeat of how it used to do it back in the day, but definitely is a way to liven up your voting base for sure. So I thought that was really cool how he did that. Jesus. Okay. Let's talk about Nikita. And we'll watch a video. Jesus.
Nikita Dragon is
So Nikita Dragon is a YouTuber, influencer, trans female. Very beautiful, very controversial in her years, likes to start up drama and shit. Loves being, spoiled brat pretty much. But the law caught up with her. Definitely, probably most likely scared her straight. And I feel like there's a possibility that she could even, at least with her social influence power, could at least try to figure out a way to get the people talking about fixing our justice system because of the way that she's treated. Hopefully it'll start getting out. So I did too. I used to watch all of it. I love me some fucking makeup YouTuber drama. Anything with Nikita Dragon or Jeffree Star, I was on that shit. Like when that whole what's his name? Jeffree Star did a makeup palette, that conspiracy one with that one dude. Man, I was fucking obsessed. It's brutal. It's brutal. I watched all of it. James Charles. I've watched all of it. It's pathetic. But we're girls. What do you expect? This is like my life right here.
is in some serious trouble. And I'm not talking about the normal type of trouble that most influencers find themselves in. We're talking about real trouble with the law. It's a mess, so let's get into it. It's been a while since we've talked about Nikita Dragon, and that's because there's really been nothing to talk about. Nikita has kept a low profile all year, and for the most part, she's managed to stay out of any kind of drama. Now, if you guys know Nikita Dragon, you'll know her staying out of drama is extremely rare. There was a point where every single week there was something going on with Nikita, either it being her getting into fights online, saying something offensive, or just doing what Nikita does best. But this year, it's been nothing. All that changed this
Girl,
week.
yes, Def Noodles. Have you been seeing his show, how low his view count is starting to get ever since he did all that drama with the whole Papa Gut thing and the t-shirt and everything? Like, holy fuck. Def Noodles was like, really starting to get up there, man. And then all of a fucking sudden, he just fucked up. And he's gone downhill. Plus the new comedy thing that he's doing, it sucks so bad. I enjoy watching the people that watch his comedy show. That seems like I still follow Deaf Noodles because that shit's hilarious. But yeah, he really fucked himself on that. You're seeing his IG. Is he trash now? No fucking way.
When TMZ
I heard
released
he's
an
been
article
doing like thirst traps and stuff now too, which is absolutely ridiculous. I'm gonna look up his Instagram right now.
titled Nikita Dragon Arrested at Miami Hotel. The article goes on to say, Nikita Dragon left a swanky Miami Beach hotel in handcuffs after cops say she was walking around the pool in the nude before dousing officers and security guards with water. TMZ got their hands on the police report and they summarized what happened and what kind of charges Nikita is facing. Cops responded to a report of someone causing a disturbance and being extremely disorderly at the hotel. Police say when they got there, hotel security told officers Nikita had been causing a disturbance for a long period of time and walking around the pool area naked. So Nikita has been in Miami all weekend long, and judging by her posts on social media, it seems like she's been having a pretty good time. She's been out clubbing and having fun, and she even posted photos and videos of herself at the hotel where she ended up being arrested. According to the police report, Nikita was allegedly giving hotel staff a really hard
His
time
fucking
over
Twitter, Instagram is horrible. Like, absolutely horrible. This dude, man, he used to be cute. Used to be. I would have smashed like a year ago, but now I'd pass. It's horrible. Yeah, his weirdo thirst trap reminds you of like his. I know, like when Hassan tries to do his thirst trap, like, bro, stop trying to be hot. Your head is so much smaller than your body. You look like the fucking character in the waiting room at the end of Beetlejuice with the small head. Yeah, I hate when these guys try to do thirst traps. It's horrible. It's so cringy. So fucking cringy.
her music. It was reported that she was playing her music really loud, and when the staff confronted her, she went off. TMZ wrote, cops say security also told them Nikita ignored demands to stop causing the disturbance and at one point intentionally threw water on hotel staffers. Now, if this is true, I really don't care how much fun Nikita was having. Throwing water on staff who are working hard and just trying to make a living doing their job is so wrong. Nikita is 26 years old. She's old enough to know that throwing water on anyone, let alone staff at the hotel you're staying at, is not okay. TMZ went on to say that the police ended up being called, and this is what happened. Once officers arrived on scene, they say they went with security up to Nikita's room where they heard loud music being played. Police say Nikita opened the door after several knocks, but when security explained to Nikita that she needed to cut it out or she'd be asked to leave the hotel, Nikita slammed the door in their faces. A few moments later, cops say Nikita opened the door again and asked security, "Do you want more?" Officers say Nikita then swung an open water bottle, causing water to hit and spill on both the security guard and the officer, resulting in her arrest.
So at that point, you know, it feels like maybe security and staff could handle her, just telling her, please put some clothes on, family-friendly place, maybe. It is in Florida, so I was thinking that maybe it's a possibility that her running around naked wasn't even a big deal, because isn't there a lot of nude places out there? But apparently at this hotel, she wasn't allowed to. They asked her nicely. They kept just trying to tell her to be cool. And she ended up throwing the water bottle. I think at that point, when she threw the water bottle, was a point where the staff and security knew that they couldn't do anything else. It was beyond their control. And they needed to get the sheriff's department involved because it had gotten violent then. And it could have escalated even more. So that's when they called security or the police department, and she got arrested. I believe she threw also water at the police officer, but from what I've been hearing, and I don't think this girl is going to say it, is that these police officers were misgendering her, calling her a man, putting man on the paperwork that they had to do. Like, they were physically doing misgendering on her. So I think she threw water at them as well and was asking the police officer, like, do you want more? You know, and she was getting pissed off. She was being misgendered by these guys.
Is being charged with, it sounds pretty serious. Nikita was booked for felony battery on a police officer, misdemeanor disorderly conduct, and misdemeanor battery. She was booked at Miami-Dade County's Turner Guilford Night Correctional Center on a $5,000 bond. So this happened in Miami, and I looked up what these charges might look like for Nikita, and it's not good. One article reads, in Florida, a police officer is any unlawful touching of a law enforcement officer. As a third-degree felony, the offense carries penalties of up to 5 years in prison. On law enforcement is harshly prosecuted, even for first-time offenders. Yikes. It also looks like this isn't the only problem that Nikita found herself in this past
I think this
weekend.
girl's a little hyperbolic on that, because I was watching that law and crime YouTube channel, and they were saying that usually her charges, she's not going to get too long on it, like a couple of weeks or something. So
in Miami. Apparently, while Nikita was at the club, these people were accusing her of trying to steal their bottle, and she got in a huge argument over on Twitter. Someone tweeted, "Big shout out to Nikita Dragon for shoving me after I told her not to steal our bottle." Nikita responded and said, "Silly boy, don't you know my and money is longer?" Another person jumped in and claimed that Nikita was kicked out of the club, and Nikita responded denying that. She wrote, "I wasn't kicked out. I was escorted by 6 security guards because they knew what I was about to do to that man for disrespecting another woman in my presence. This man pushed the fiance of the VP of Warner and Atlantic, who I am currently in talks with to fund me over. Bottom line, I see a man put hands on a woman, police call the cops, cause need you forget, I know I look like a doll on the outside, but I still hit like a dude." So this weekend was definitely not something that we've seen from Nikita in a while, which is why a lot of people are so shocked over what happened. I mean, Nikita just recently moved to New York. She's been keeping to herself. She hasn't been in any kind of drama.
You have to help me find my New York apartment. Option number 1 has the most incredible views, and again.
And she's apparently even been working on music.
Running from the flames, not inspire, take me higher.
No comment. Anyways, a lot of people think this behavior from Nikita is extremely concerning, especially after she opened up about her bipolar diagnosis last year. If you guys remember, Nikita went home to visit her family last year, and her trip ended with her being held in a psychiatric hospital on a hold. Earlier this year, Nikita finally came out and talked about her diagnosis and what it meant for her and how she was going to go forward. She ended up leaving LA and moving to New York, and she seemed to be doing pretty good. Today, Nikita stood before a judge to have her charges read out to her. Nikita's lawyer asked the judge if she could be released on an ROR, which is where you're granted release without posting bond, but the judge denied it. She set her bond at $5,000, and it's not totally clear if Nikita ended up bailing out. It's also not really the matter of if she has the money or not. She has to call someone from a phone in jail and have someone, I guess, physically come down to the jail and pay the bond.
all right, this girl is like a little on the hyperbolic side of all of it. So when Nikita, I can't believe this person did not even show the video of Nikita Dragon asking the judge. Here, like this one.
That you stay away from the Good Times Hotel. Do you have to go there to get your personal belongings? All right. So you're not allowed to go back there, but you can return there to get your personal belongings. Otherwise, you got to stay away from there. And if you go there to get your personal belongings, I don't know, you want to stay away with her? She doesn't live here.
I mean, I think that she caused trouble at the hotel. I don't think they want her back there. And I don't think it's too restrictive.
All right, so just go there to get your personal belongings. You should go with a police officer, okay?
Thank you so much. I would like to thank the staff. They've been very lovely.
All right, let me just write this out. I don't know. What do you want her to do?
She's super nervous. You could tell by the little breathing that she did, closing of her eyes. These are small little comfort things that she's doing to help herself. She's definitely extremely, extremely nervous. But from what I heard, this judge is very empathetic, very kind to people, really listens to the person's story and empathizes with their side. So
Just reduce the bonds.
Do you have money to post the bond?
How much is it?
I don't know.
I was thinking 1,000 count 1, and then 500 2 and 3.
It's
Okay,
fine.
I might have to check.
$1,000 count 1, 500 count 2, 500 count 3.
Judge, would you consider an ROR?
I can't do that for this charge. I'm sorry.
And the defendant's not from here, so
I can't. I got to set a bond. It's a $2,000 bond. If there's any reason you can't afford to pay a bond, use the free phone at the jail to call the public defender's office, and they can readdress this with your division judge. All right?
And Your Honor, may I ask one question?
Sure.
Do I have to stay here in the men's unit still?
Yeah, I don't make the rules up there, but they should make a proper accommodation for you. You should be in a separate area. You can contact the bondsman to try and get you out. Miss Corey, do you want to note your file that makes you to follow up to make sure she's able to get hold of a bondsman to bond out?
Yes, Judge.
So that's like the best that the judge can do to help her out. But you can hear it in her voice. You can see it in her face. Nikita just did not want to be there anymore. You kind of start to feel bad for her right here. It's really, really upsetting that she even had to ask this of the judge. You know, she should, I guess, you know, it's really hard there. The justice system is really fucked up, especially in the jail. And so I feel bad for her in this situation.
Can I please have your phone number?
Oh, they're just going to give out information now. So she did get out of jail. I have the video here. What's up, kid?
You got orange chicken.
I did.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. So goodbye. So Pop Crush, I guess, they found the videos. It looks like the person who released these videos of Nikita coming out of jail deleted them on TikTok. Yeah. Deleted them on TikTok. So this person actually got a hold of them, or this company got a hold of them and still is playing them. So it says the TikTok claimed to have interacted with users on TikTok claimed to have interacted with Nikita upon the time of her release, with one user in particular alleging they personally picked Dragon up from the Turner Guilford Night Correctional Center in Miami. They made headlines this week, being arrested and charged, series of TikTok, blah, blah, blah. Claimed, this person right here on TikTok claimed to have picked up Nikita upon her release from jail. One clip, Marilyn claimed to have filmed the YouTuber exiting jail where she was allegedly held in the men's unit.
Wrong person. One fucking person. Oh my God, it is.
So there, she says there was none of us there for her. She cried in our arms, thanking us. The brief clip, which cuts away quickly, shows a person in a white shirt appearing to sing a lyric from Selena's "Dreaming of You." This is supposedly Nikita's. There was also this. Sorry. Has their back turned to the camera as they sing to the hotel staff while seemingly asking for a cheap room. She said something that's cheap. Here's another one. God, they're like barely anything. More recent uploaded clip shows the person running towards the TikTok user and embracing her after exiting. So here's Nikita running to them.
Nikita!
How are you, baby? You okay?
Better video getting released. Once again, she is safe. I keep hearing about her managers and whatnot, but Nikita cut off all of her managers due to them trying to say she was crazy. Another TikToker alleged that he was on his way to pick her up after he supposedly paid her bond. In a serious TikTok video, this person claimed to be waiting in the parking lot.
All right, y'all. So we are on the way to go wait for her to get released. A lot of people said that we should just go and make sure she has, at least if she doesn't come home with us and we don't take her back to her hotel, at least she has a safe way home and she makes it out of there and she's okay. So we're on our way. We're 23 minutes away. I will keep you guys posted. In the meantime, let's get as many people as possible to add me on the games in my bio and check out some of them surveys because they do pay well.
Oh, you try to make money. These people, these TikTokers, man. This person said that Dragon was being bullied by jail staff and that a news van was on site. Oh, God. I at least believe those first ones where it looked like Nikita, but this one doesn't even show. He claimed the management was sending a car to retrieve her from jail, despite him having allegedly driven to the detention center to pick him up herself. Her manager, a whole red flag. He also claimed that the reason he posted her bail was because nobody had bailed Dragon out at the time, which she could do it herself. In a comment under one of her TikToks, Marilyn alleged that he was lying about his interactions with the influencer. She said, so do y'all bond her out or did Icy Wyatt? She said, from when Nikita told me she did not need bond, so that kid is lying. She has been, their statement is she is out and she is safe now. The statement also confirmed that Dragon, who is legally female, was placed in a men's unit of a Florida jail. The representative called the situation extremely disturbing and dangerous. The decision made by the Miami-Dade County Corrections Department directly violates their protocol, which mandates that transgender inmates are classified and housed based on safety needs and gender identity. It's unclear if Dragon was released from jail Tuesday or Wednesday, but Dragon was arrested and charged with assaulting a Miami police officer. I believe that's it. And then they put a bunch of celebrities who have been arrested. Winona Ryder, shoplifting, assaulting his girlfriend, DUI, possession, obvious, drunk driving, resisting arrest, driving without a license, this person, assault, Jesus, DUI, possession, holy shit, DUI, all these bad people. They're all bad. So yeah, that's all I have on the Nikita Dragon story. It looks like she's home now. She's all safe and good. It's really sad how they treated her in jail, misgendering her and all of that. I don't think that they should have done that to her at all. So the next story I have is out in Virginia. There is a restaurant that was serving up dishes themed in 9/11. So it included menu items like Pentagon Pie and Remember Teeny. Wild, right? A restaurant in Stafford, Virginia is receiving backlash after they released a 9/11 themed menu. Social media users circulated screenshots of the menu from the Clubhouse restaurant, prompting the establishment to pull the Patriot Day 2022 menu. Yeah, exactly. It's very tacky. Some items included the Flight 93 redirect, crab dip, or the Pentagon Pie. This one is bad. The 2977 Chowder, which is the number of people who were killed in the tragic September 11th terrorist attack. A Virginia-based restaurant is only 39 miles from the Pentagon, which is even worse. It's even worse. A representative had no comment. Twitter's expressed outrage, said can this be real? Is it real? Another wrote, utterly classless. They should feel ashamed. They probably don't have that kind of emotional range. The restaurant has since taken down the menu and replaced it with football theme lineup instead. Very interesting though, right? I wonder if we can, I mean, there's the restaurant right there. I want to see more of like the 9/11 themed menu. I want to look at pictures. I want to see a picture of it. I thought they had it in there, but it looks like they changed it up. There it is. So here's what some of it was showing, or what the menu was looking like. So you got the Pentagon pie, the chowder, the Flight 93 redirect, the first responder flatbread. There was 9/11 oysters, and there was a freedom flounder fish. So they sparked fury. Here's the bottom half that we couldn't see up there. It was meant to commemorate the 9/11 attacks. But it was posted online by George Whaat, the manager of the restaurant. Also on the special seafood menu was freedom flounder, 9/11 oysters, first responder flatbread, but he swiftly removed after he faced an immediate backlash, with one Twitter user branding it appalling. Hopefully they'll be properly shamed for this, wrote another. This woman, Monica, who lost her husband, also condemned the restaurant. 9/11 should not be used to sell food, and if anyone was going to do that, the right thing would be to donate to a 9/11 related cause or foundation. White later apologized. Come on. White later apologized on Facebook and explained it had not been his intention to offend anyone. He said his intention was to bring attention to the horrific day 21 years ago, to honor those who lost so much, as well as those who gave everything that day. We will have a new theme tomorrow. He has since updated the Sunday menu with a football theme, like hot defense, champs chowder, fumble flounder, and a touchdown teeny. It comes after a limo hire service in New York has been blasted for using September 11th imagery to promote a discount coupon. Carmel Car and Limousine Service sent out an email to advertise a 9/11 anniversary promotion. Jesus. These people still, though, like, I mean, yeah, it's in bad taste. And yes, it's a, like you said, Holly, it's very tacky. But these people still, like, like too soon, and it's been so long. Like, I'm on the East Coast or the West Coast, so I guess it's like a lot separated from me too. Here's the story of what happened. That's that story. That's the story on that. It looks like they can or they took it all down and changed it to football stuff. So, ooh, you sent me a funny treat in my DM regarding Twitter fuckery. Ooh, in my DM, Twitter DM. Let's check. Investors. Okay, so it is the one you put in there. Okay, let's see. Eli Lilly dives after fake Twitter account promises free insulin, takes Novo Nordisk. Wait, what? Hold on, we're going to read this together. Ooh, you got to send that to me in Twitter or something because I can't grab it. What? Oh, okay. I was like, would you know what I'm reading right now? Okay, let's read this because I have no idea what the hell this is about. Okay. Elon Musk's new pay-for-play verification system on Twitter shook pharmaceutical mainstay Eli Lilly, leading LLY stock to skid Friday after a fake account claimed insulin is free now. Wait. Official Eli Lilly. Okay. We apologize to those who have been served a misleading message from a fake Lilly account. Our official Twitter account is @LilyPad. We regret to inform you that we will not be giving away insulin, a publicly funded invention that was given away by its creators to be given away to people so they don't die. Eli Lilly stock isn't just tanking because of satirical tweet on Musk's hellscape. It's tanking because millions of people are asking why we have to pay for insulin when it was made to be free. That's why other insulin stocks are falling. Happy Disability Awareness Month. All right. So the tweet went live around 1:30 on Thursday from an account claiming to be Eli Lilly. It remained online for several hours, gaining steam from hundreds of retweets and thousands of likes. As of Friday morning, the fake account is no longer verified and its tweets are now private. But that didn't stop LLY stock from falling 2.2% near the 360.70 in the morning trades on today's stock market. They said, we apologize to those who have been served misleading message. We just read that. Eli Lilly's official account was verified under Twitter's old rules. The new verification system allows any account to be verified for just $8 per month. The move has spurred numerous fake accounts to crop up, impersonating celebrities, politicians, and historical figures. And yeah, I saw somebody who it was like a checkmarked George Washington Twitter today. The show was hilarious. It's insane. Insulin prices have become a hot button issue where no generics exist. Without insulin, some patients with diabetes would die. Lilly, Novo Nordisk, and Sanofi supply 100% of the insulin used in the US and 90% globally. That's ridiculous. It's pretty much a monopoly. That's illegal. The LLY stock slide also extended to its rivals. Novo shares fell 3.2. Sanofi stock lost 4%. In the third quarter alone, Lilly's insulin products generated more than $878 million in sales. Sales fell more than 20% year over year. However, Lilly noted its homolog brand insulin underwent price cuts during the quarter. On its website, Lilly offers a program in which insulin will cost $35 a month. Jesus Christ. Representatives of the company didn't immediately return a request for comment on Friday morning. LOI stock recently broke out of a flat base with a buy point. According to marksmith.com, shares are now beyond the 5% chase zone. Of course, they did go back up. That's hilarious, man. This Twitter shit is just ridiculously so funny. Investors fear culture caught up with them. Most people know insulin discovery was funded with our money. Insulin's cheaper everywhere else. Insulin inventors sold the patent for $1 to a university because they wanted everyone to afford it. That's right. Even the Wall Street Journal, not exactly the champion of people over profit, publicly dings Eli Lilly for its immoral price gouging of insulin. So the Wall Street Journal says insulin is a life-saving medication used to control blood sugar levels in people with diabetes. Lawmakers who believe it is too expensive have tried to lower its cost. A vial of one of Lilly's more common insulins, Homolog, is $274.70 before insurance payments, according to the company's website. That is horrible. That is disgusting. Then he says, if you look up the top producers of insulin, more evidence that investors know how vulnerable the insulin grift is. Any news is bad news because now we're all paying attention. Look at all those drops. Drop there, dropping there, dropping there. That is beautiful to see. Hopefully the prices will go down. I have a friend who has a kid who her daughter has been taking insulin her entire life since she was born. It's just, I feel so bad for people that have to do that. Like, that kid was born with diabetes. How are you gonna do that? Like, how are you gonna make her have to pay her entire life for something that she was just born with? It's horrible. Following this and many other parodies of corporations and odious political figures, Elon Musk rushed to turn off his $8 Twitter Blue signups and appears to have reintroduced yet another badge, further destroying the value of the blue check mark. Yeah, I was just noticing that earlier, that somebody had like official underneath their check. So he looks like he might be bringing that back. If you'd like to keep up with me, sign up to your newsletter. That is insane. Guess who may now be sued by Eli Lilly or its shareholders for reckless acts that caused this damage. Musk may not lose $44 billion after all. He may lose more. You can't sue Elon from what somebody else in here is doing. So in his infinite wisdom, Elon has tanked Twitter, Tesla, Eli Lilly, Sanofi, Novo so far. Oh, this is great. No secret show tonight. Yes, I will be on tomorrow. Oh, so you're not going to have a show tonight? Yeah, no, you probably want to take some time off because you just had like a whole week's worth of work. So I totally understand. Yeah, we'll be back on tomorrow. You regret not signing up for Twitter Blue. You still have time. You can still do it. This is the new Wild West. Tank with fake Twitter. Blah, blah, blah. Google News snafu leads to airline stock plunge. Oh, this is 2008. Okay. You gotta love Twitter. It's such a shithole. Eli ordered to pay $177 million to rival Teva in migraine patent fight. Holy mo! Hey, some good news. I remember that. That was such a great show for as little as it was on. And then they fucking sold out. All right. What else do I got to talk about today? That's an interesting one, though. Very interesting. Oh, yeah. Okay. So, out in the UK, there's, like I was telling you earlier, there's a location where they filmed the Dobby death scene for Harry Potter, one of the movies. Oh, Twitter disabled it. No new signups. Damn. So Harry Potter fans were warned to stop leaving socks at Dobby's grave on a beach in Wales. The seaside location is where Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1 shot Dobby's death scene. So here, actually, I didn't know there was a video. Did you see who that was? Did you see who that was? That was the TRL guy. That's nostalgic as shit right there.
Memorial. Potterheads will remember this movie scene, Harry burying Dobby after the house elf dies, rescuing the trio. Over the last decade, that beach in Wales, that real beach, has become a pretty popular tourist destination for folks looking to pay respects to the fictional character. But now local officials are asking fans to just please stop leaving Dobby socks. Socks hold a special meaning, apparently, in this little guy's story, since that's how Harry freed him. But apparently, they're also causing environmental concerns. The National Trust of Wales found things like socks and paint chips from Dobby decorated stone. Dobby, excuse me. I have no idea what's happening in the story.
Is this English?
Dobby decorated stones are threatening the area's wildlife. So here's what this all means. Sorry. If you happen to find yourself,
Carson Daly.
if you wake up and you're at Freshwater West Beach in Wales, please keep your socks on.
Dobby's gone on.
Dobby's free.
He's moved on.
He's moved on.
He's okay.
Okay.
But it was a very emotional scene in the movie.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It was. Okay. So
one person would have got
It's
something.
so funny to watch people that don't know anything about the movie try to understand what the fuck is going on and why people are leaving socks. So Potter fans are being urged to not leave socks at the site. The location is where the Deathly Hallows Part 1 is. Harry Potter novels. Dobby dies in Harry's arms and tells him the beach is such a beautiful place to be with friends. After Harry Potter fans erected a memorial for Dobby at the filming location, many more fans were inspired to visit this area and leave socks at the site. The socks are a tribute to Dobby, who is freed from indentured servitude after his evil owner, the Malfoys, is tricked into giving him a sock. Dobby wears the sock until his death, which he does, okay? Lady, you're going to fall. Jesus Christ. Come on, you're going to fall. Just scooch back. She's good. She's not looking. She's hiding in my armpit. Harry Potter fans have left so many socks at the memorial that it has started to become an environmental concern for Freshwater West Beach. Environmental officials from the Conservation Charity National Trust conducted an 8-month review of the site and decided to allow the memorial to stay standing, although a warning to fans has now been issued. The memorial to Dobby will remain in the immediate term for people to enjoy. The trust is asking visitors to only take photos when visiting the memorial to help protect the wider landscape. The trust noted that in its review findings that items like socks, trinkets, paint chips from painted pebbles could enter the marine environment and the food chain and put wildlife at risk. While they're delighted to see so many wanting to visit, they have to balance the popularity of the site with the impacts on the sensitive nature of the beach and the wider environment, and pressure on the facilities and surrounding roads, official with the trust added. So that's that. There's Dobby. So cute. Look at You're so cute, lady. Look, it's you on the TV right there. She even has her ears down for it, too, like that. Is that you on the TV? Is that you? Oh, it's totally her. That's so cute. That's you, huh, Miss Lady? You little Dobby elf. Yeah, you're so cute. All right. What else do I have? Fuck. I got nothing. I think I'm out of things to watch. Any other news stuff that's happening? A news correspondent collapsed on live TV, but it was pretty boring. Brandy and Dee were on this morning. Oh no, it was just not Brandy. It was Dolores and Madeline was on this morning. Chris Hedges was on with Lee Camp yesterday, talking about war is the greatest evil. The CEO of Bing, oh no, not Bing, Bang Energy Drink might be going bankrupt, but then he released a video and he's so weird. Somebody was arrested in Wisconsin brandishing a knife to tell people to stop voting at a polling place. What else do we watch? I mean, I'll watch whatever you guys want. I'm I guess we can just watch this stuff. Hold on. Let me put it in here. So I'm just going through my my already watched stuff, my history. So this was a man with a knife threatened Wisconsin poll workers, saying to like stop voting. So here's the cop going into the place.
What does it look like? Sir, drop the knife. Back away. Get on the ground. Palms out. Do it now. Do you have any other weapons on you, sir?
I have box cutters in my backpack, like 4.
Do not reach for your backpack or you will be shot. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay.
How do you take your backpack off? Okay, I'm gonna move in and try to take his backpack off.
Let's have 2, 1 on each side. Can we get those kids in the back room, please? Can you get them in the back room, please?
Please get the children away. You can cut the backpack. Take the backpack off you, okay?
Do not move.
It looks like it went pretty easily, like nothing really bad happened. I just got your video right now, Holly, and I will bring it up and we can watch it. It looks pretty interesting how the far right co-ops anti-war rhetoric to push imperialism. Interesting. It's a very long video.
And specifically, a very concerning trend that I've seen happen in the past few years in the US and Europe, and that is a kind of right-wing creep that we've seen in the anti-war movement and the anti-imperialist movement. Historically, the anti-war movement has been led by the left, and we can go back even to 1916 when there was a split in the Second International over the question of World War I, and the Social Democrats who opposed World War I as an inter-imperialist war, who became the communists, they were the ones who were anti-war. And then, of course, we saw throughout the First Cold War that it was largely the left movement, the communist movement that was against war and against empire. But there are moments historically in which the right wing has tried to claim the anti-war mantle. Of course, during World War II, there were fascists and Nazi sympathizers who opposed U.S. military intervention in World War II, which is probably the only good war the U.S. military has ever fought in. And more recently, we've seen that there has been an attempt by right-wing elements, including far-right fascistic elements, to try to co-opt anti-war rhetoric and even anti-imperialist rhetoric. So today to talk about this, I'm joined by a friend of the show, a great journalist, Marlon Edinger, and you can find his work over at Substack at footnotesnews.substack.com. I'll link to that in the description below. And Marlon has also written some books, including he has a book about the French far-right politician Zemmour and Charles de Gaulle. And that actually relates a lot to our conversation today, because this phenomenon that we're seeing of right-wing co-optation of the anti-war movement is also what we see in Europe. And we see this kind of discourse emerging that says that in order to be anti-war, in order to be anti-imperialist, you should support these kind of narrow chauvinistic forms of nationalism in imperialist countries, whether that's US nationalism or French nationalism or British nationalism. We also see an attempt to say that if you want to be anti-war and anti-imperialist, you have to be against LGBT people. And in general, we just see this very kind of opportunist tendency. So today we're going to talk about that. We'll talk about people like Tulsi Gabbard, Tucker Carlson. We'll talk about examples in France with Zemmour and Marine Le Pen. And of course, we also want to talk about the very weird cult that follows this man, Lyndon LaRouche. So there's a lot to talk about today. Marlon knows a lot about these topics. I think it'll be a great conversation. But Marlon, let's begin. I want to just talk a little bit about the anti-war movement. I know you are from the U.S., but you've also lived in France and lived in both countries and have been involved in left-wing movements. So I know you were involved in the Gravel campaign when he ran for president as a protest candidate. And when Gravel ran, he ran as the anti-war candidate against imperialism. This is something that has historically been led by the left. I've been involved in the anti-war movement for 15 years around, and it's always been the left. But we've seen, for instance, more recently, people like Tulsi Gabbard, who have spoken out against regime change war, which is refreshing to hear because there are so few U.S. politicians who have spoken about, the wars on Libya, the war on Syria, even the war in Iraq. But Tulsi Gabbard's a very strange figure because she's also an active member of the U.S. military. She's actually involved in psychological operations and basically kind of colonial propaganda in areas that are occupied by the U.S. military. So she's a very strange figure who supposedly portrays herself as anti-war. At the same time, she also claims to be a hawk when it comes to the war on terror. That's a quote of her. She said, "When it comes to regime change wars, I'm a dove. When it comes to the war on terror, I'm a hawk." So let's start with there. We saw that Tulsi Gabbard just announced that she's leaving the Democratic Party. And she said the Democratic Party is full of warmongers, which is true. But then at the same time, she's cozying up to Republicans. And she said the Democratic Party is anti-white, which shows this kind of right-wing rhetoric that's trying to appeal to white nationalists. She also made anti-LGBT comments. So once again, we see an attempt to try to co-opt popular energy of people who rightfully are against war but then try to turn it into a right-wing direction. I'm curious what you think about this.
Yeah, Tulsi Gabbard's a great case study for all this, because I think because of the moribund nature of the anti-war movement in America, a lot of people are very understandably desperate for any representation in the media of that perspective. So when anybody says something like, what Gabbard has said, calling out the catastrophe that the Libyan war was, or the bloodthirsty warmongering across the world by the United States, they'll latch onto her without looking into the game she's playing or what her past was, what her record actually is. And I think people are a lot more skeptical of people like Obama now, because they know that Barack Obama's anti-war posturing when he was a candidate was bogus. He got power. Tulsi Gabbard has never had to put her money where her mouth is, essentially. You could say she had votes in Congress, but if she has two sort of strange periods in Congress.
I'm going to write that one down. Yeah, I haven't covered that yet. You're right. That's a good one. I don't think I covered it because I've kind of felt bad for the dude afterwards. Call it Egg King. Everybody was like booing him and stuff. I felt so bad. Yeah, he used to work with Gray Zone.
When Trump was president, she did vote against, or actually wasn't against, I believe it was just present on some of the military budgets. But under Obama, she voted for a lot of the military budgets, and she has a whole string of quotations where she got prominent in the media because she was presented as sort of this Democrat who could criticize Obama. And the way she was criticizing him was she was accusing him of being soft on Iran. She was saying that Iran's trying to develop a nuclear bomb and that Israel is justified in being worried about that, even though Israel's been saying Iran is trying to develop a nuclear bomb for decades, and Israel has nuclear weapons themselves. She's praised the IDF. She's said that, in Iraq, there should be a partitioned Iraq, into 3 separate countries, that's Joe Biden's line.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. She's saying, watch out for the Iranian militias in Syria, which is, a classic shibboleth. Watch out for Soleimani at the time. This is all 2014, 2015. She supported al-Sisi in Egypt, who was this British Army trained guy who basically took over the country at the behest of the United States. She's talked about how, there need to be sanctions on Russia in the past even. She compared, there's this great quote, she compared Russia back then to Nazi Germany, but said we still have to be willing to work with them. And I think really when you look at this record, it's not a surprise that she's turned out like she has turned out. And she's made this effective heel turn because there's just so little perspective in the mainstream media. And Tucker Carlson, who you mentioned, is feeding on this. He sees there's this gap, and he can get people to support certain things if he appeals, because we want to hear all this. We want someone to stop the drive to nuclear war, of course. We're close. I think we're closer to nuclear war than ever. But are these going to be the people that save us from it? Carlson wanted Iran to be, nuked back into the Stone Age just, 5 or 6 years ago. So I wonder how legitimate they really are. And I don't think they are at all legitimate in what they're saying. And like I said, again, we know this. Obama campaigned as being against stupid wars. Well, Tulsi Gabbard says she's against regime change wars. It's good to be against regime change wars, but why not be against imperialism, the U.S. system of imperialism? It's sort of, I see it as very similar, this idea of being only against like bad wars or stupid wars, to what Obama was saying.
Yeah, it's very similar.
Yeah, that's what really sucks about the whole Tulsi Gabbard situation was I was giving her the benefit of the doubt when she said she was leaving the Democratic Party. I didn't think that she would be toting the GOP like she is. I was really hoping the best of her, but like he said, she was, she picks and chooses what kinds of wars she likes and what kinds of wars she doesn't like over the years. And we just all haven't paid attention. We just thought, she was this Democrat that was beating on Democrats and equal to Bernie, just a little bit more militaristic. I knew a lot of friends that worked for her when she was running, and now they kind of regret it. They feel betrayed a little bit by her going off and being very pro-war. So there's a video. There's a second video of the media questioning him. Yeah, I saw that where he was yelling while he was being held or handcuffed. Yeah, we'll watch it definitely.
And also in case of something like Gabbard, it really shows opportunism, where they recognize that as a Democrat, there is no space for criticizing war. She was, of course, a Democratic congresswoman, and now it's very clear that she's throwing her lot in the Republican Party. And okay, yes, maybe she'll criticize some elements of war, but then that means she has to bring in all this other right-wing baggage. So it shows that there's no opportunity within the U.S. political system of actually articulating a left-wing anti-war, anti-imperialist position that is the only genuine anti-war position. I mean, this is the tweet and video in which she announced she was leaving the Democratic Party. And by the way, at the same time when she announced that, she also announced that she's creating like a YouTube channel. So it's funny how like everyone is also just trying to ride every opportunity to become like a YouTuber, right? She now has this like right-wing YouTube channel. And in this tweet and video, she said the Democratic Party is under the control of an elitist cabal of warmongers driven by cowardly wokeness who divide us by racializing every issue and stoke anti-white racism, actively to work to undermine our God-given freedoms. And then she says they're hostile to people of faith and spirituality, demonize the police, protect criminals, believe in open borders. I mean, so obviously the Democratic Party is warmongering, but everything else in here is just incredible right-wing red meat for the most reactionary, in many cases, racist people. So the idea that Democrats are anti-white, which is, again, a buzzword for white nationalists, wokeness. I mean, I've talked about this. The idea that like wokeness is the problem and not superficial corporate co-optation of wokeness. Like, obviously, there's no problem with wokeness itself in the sense of being anti-racist and feminist and supporting LGBT rights. Those are all basic things that any reasonable human being who cares about, their neighbors should care about, is basic equality. But what they co-opt is this idea that large corporations are trying to for their own economic reasons, capitalize on this popular sentiment, especially among millennials, because a lot of these corporations, they know that their targeting demographic is largely young people. So they try to portray themselves as like woke and progressive. And then what we see is like the right wing co-opts that and says, well, if you're woke, you're supporting big corporations like Nike, which did a Black Lives Matter ad or whatever. Therefore, Black Lives Matter is equal to these big corporations. Therefore, police are good and black people are bad. And I mean, it really shows to me how these neoliberals and imperialists, in many ways, they actually reinforce their own enemies. Like, they help create their own enemies by neoliberal Democrats co-opting this narrative of claiming to care about feminism and anti-racism, which obviously is good if they actually genuinely were interested in that. Okay. And then the right wing responds to that by saying, well, that means that anti-racism and feminism are bad. So it's always this very responsive thing. And at the same time, as you said, people are so desperate for media attention. What that means is that the only people in mainstream corporate media who are allowed to articulate anti-war positions are the Tucker Carlson style, Pat Buchanan style paleocons who are deeply reactionary. And then, of course, the left is never actually represented anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
Exactly.
the phrase anti-white is particularly significant because that comes from this thing called the mantra, which was this guy, Bob Whitaker, who was he came up on Stormfront, the notorious neo-Nazi forum. And there's this idea that they use the same thing. They say diversity is code word for anti-white, anti-racism is code word for anti-white, which is part of this whole delirium that, having any significant population of Black or brown or Asian people in your country means that white people are facing genocide. And that, that's a whole other thing to unpack. It's not true because, of course, there are more white people in these countries than ever before anyway. Nobody's actually being replaced. And it's a racist argument. But Bob Whitaker, it's interesting that this phrase, percolated the Tulsi Gap.
What was that? Sorry. Lula paused the video on the stream on the main TV. Oh, to take a photo, to tweet it. Aw, thanks. All right, I'll go look it up right now while I'm live.
And it really has sort of penetrated mainstream discourse anyway. But it comes from this guy, Bob Whitaker, who was a Reagan appointee. He served in Ronald Reagan's administration, and Reagan was the biggest warmonger in the world. And then he went on to have his career as sort of an open Nazi. And so it's all coming from this place. A lot of this delirium against woke ideology is obviously boring and played out, or cancel culture. It's just all, you can make any argument for it. I could say I was being canceled for a million reasons too, like for being, but the reality is everyone will weaponize this rhetoric, or the way you talk about it in a certain way, which Gabbard is doing, but it just hides an absence of any actual principles against or for certain positions. You can't pin them down. Like, well, okay, what does it mean, cowardly wokeness? What does that actually mean?
Yeah, I mean, something that's not that well known about Tulsi Gabbard, which also makes me even more suspicious about some of this, is that I mentioned that she's part of the U.S. Army, and some people know that she's in the Army Reserve. She's openly spoke about that. But friend of the show, Gumby, who does really good research at Gumby for Christ on Twitter, he pointed out that Tulsi Gabbard is assigned to the 351st Civil Affairs Command, which is a psychological operations unit. They do psyops, and specifically, they also do Civil Affairs Command. That's the official name. Civil affairs, that is, which means basically they do psychological operations and propaganda in areas that are occupied by the U.S. military, or areas in which the U.S. military wants to have some kind of soft power. And
that's why she thinks that Syria's leader is a terrorist and is gassing people, and she's for certain wars, of course. And then this is her job. This is what she does.
Tulsi Gabbard,
and now she's a regular citizen too, so she's able to go off and talk without having the politician behind her in her name as well.
Recently, as 2021, a year ago in September, she tweeted, "Aloha, you haven't heard much from me lately as I've been gone for the last 4 months on an active duty tour and deployment to Africa as a civil affairs officer supporting a special forces mission to go after Al-Qaeda affiliated jihadists." Now, again, civil affairs, which really in this case means psychological operations in Africa. I mean, Africa is the biggest continent on earth. She doesn't say what country it is. We can imagine maybe Somalia, maybe Mali. I mean, the U.S. African Command is active in over half of the African continent. So this is very suspicious. And honestly, what this leads me to suspect is that there is this. I'll say clearly, this is what I think was happening. There is a concerted psychological operation to co-opt a lot of that genuine popular anti-war sentiment and try to redirect it into the Republican Party. Is what it seems to me that is happening here. We see Steve Bannon himself openly talk about how he wanted to win over Bernie Sanders supporters, and when Bernie Sanders was completely just shafted by the Democratic Party, and they clearly sabotaged the primary, sabotaging their own base in order to prevent him from being the candidate. Steve Bannon and the Trump campaign tried to capitalize on that energy and tried to co-opt it and say that Bernie supporters should go for Trump. So it seems to me that Tulsi, this is my speculation, but she does seem to be involved in some kind of weird psychological operation with the U.S. military, and it's very shady to me. I don't know what you think about that. Maybe you disagree, but I just wanted to get that out there.
Yeah, well, we've talked about that, Ben. I think the fact that, she does put out these criticisms in the media of some of America's imperial conquests, but I rarely see her talk about Africa. And like you said, the U.S. presence in Africa is huge, and French presence in Africa is huge. There's this huge rush of neo-colonization there, or something that really has never ended, but it's becoming more and more important because a lot of these old former neo-colonial puppets in Africa are dying off, or their sort of reign of power is ending. So there's these new popular movements in France. There's a lot of anti-Western sentiment, and when I should say Africa, not France, there's a lot of anti-Western sentiment in West Africa, particularly against France. And like you mentioned, she was there. What was she doing? We don't know. We do know that, for instance, I don't think she probably was in Mali. I think more Somalia or somewhere like that. The Horn of Africa, I think, might have been mentioned where she was. But in Mali, when there was this coup government recently, the then prime minister, and since then there's been another coup government, but the then prime minister accused France and the West of training terrorists in the Kidal region in the north of the country. Gabbard, who will inveigh against Al Qaeda and jihadists, never really mentions the U.S. involvement in training or arming these groups in the past. Just sort of presents them as this explosion or expression of Islamist ideology, which she views as the greatest threat in the world.
I'm sorry to cut you off here, but just because you mentioned this, when I saw this, my jaw dropped. This is a tweet from her in September. September, she said the Islamist ideology that motivated the 9/11 attack remains the greatest long-term threat to the world. Like, obviously, none of us is a fan of Salafi jihadist groups, many of which have been historically backed by the CIA and MI6. But the reality that the claim that Salafi jihadism as an ideology is the longest term threat to the world is preposterous. What about nuclear war? What about the U.S. empire, which is just waging war everywhere constantly? NATO is the greatest long-term threat. She's an active member of the U.S. military, and then she says Islamism is the greatest long-term threat. That is just ridiculous.
I'm pretty fucking sure white Christianity is a bigger threat than Islamism, or than Islam. So that's ridiculous.
Have the U.S. military killed, in the past.
These guys are doing so great. I can't believe she would even think like this.
A lot of people who might be sympathetic to Gabriel here are saying this, like, well, okay, you might have something, but why don't some of the things she says are true? Why are you so insistent on pointing out these things about her? She's the most prominent voice in the mainstream media who's getting these ideas out there. And I think it's because of stuff like this. Because if you don't, it's essentially lying by omission and also by commission in cases like that. But if you promote this false narrative about the world, you can't understand the world, and you can't figure out why any of this stuff is happening. You think that Islamist ideology is the threat, and the real problem with Obama's wars or Bush's wars is they were coddling the Islamists, which is the classic Republican line. Obama was never really committed to war in Syria. Obama sort of half-heartedly babied Iran and came up with this ideal. The real thing that would have solved it would have been sending troops to Iran or attacking Assad openly after the red line was crossed. It's all the same narrative that she's pushing. There's some slight alterations, but in the past she used to push this narrative a lot more. Even Ukraine in 2014, she put out this statement saying that Russia is degrading Ukraine's territorial integrity. We must offer direct military assistance, defensive weapons, military supplies, and training to ensure Ukraine has adequate resources to respond to Russia's aggressions and defend themselves. And now she's saying, this war, diplomacy and negotiations, which I agree with, but it's like an arsonist now calling for the firefighters. She poured gasoline on the conflict for half a decade at least, and now is trying to pull back from it. And I don't think it's really an evolution of ideas. I think it's more a lane she's trying to play.
And I think it's a clear right-wing strategy. So Trump is another classic example of this. Trump himself, during his campaign, he criticized U.S. regime change wars, which is good, of course, but then he did nothing to challenge war during his actual campaign, during his administration. In fact, he did the opposite. Trump, for instance, we were talking about Ukraine. Trump sent deadly weapons to Ukraine that even Obama wouldn't do. I remember when Obama was being criticized by Republicans for not sending deadly weapons lethal weapons, they said, to Ukraine. He only sent non-lethal weapons, which is a hilarious term. It's more propaganda. It's like when cops use less than lethal force, but they still kill someone. Right. But anyway, the point is that Republicans were attacking Obama for not sending enough weapons to Ukraine. Trump comes in, the supposed anti-war candidate. He sends weapons to Ukraine that Obama wouldn't. He kills Qasem Soleimani in an act of war that basically could have started a conventional war with Iran. Meanwhile, he's waging economic war on Iran, cyber war on Iran. he installs arch neocon John Bolton as his national security advisor, who unilaterally withdraws from the INF Treaty, Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty, which is also what set off this war in Ukraine right now, because that meant that Ukraine could potentially put nuclear weapons inside Ukraine because the U.S. no longer had the INF Treaty with Russia. I mean, this is all Trump's doing. And then people say, well, it's not Trump, it's John Bolton and Mike Pompeo. Those are people that Trump appointed. Like, the president doesn't control who he appoints as Secretary of State and as his national security advisor. I mean, obviously, yeah, like I've talked a lot about like the Kennedy assassination and like the limitations of power for a U.S. president. But like, come on, appointing his cabinet is one of the few things that the president actually can do. And appointing like the worst neocons in your cabinet to lead foreign policy shows that you don't actually believe in these anti-war politics, especially considering, by the way, that during the Iraq War, Trump supported the Iraq War, just like Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson also now claims that he opposed the Iraq War. He supported the Iraq War. Tucker Carlson not only supported the Iraq War, he dehumanized Iraqis and claimed that they were semi-illiterate, primitive monkeys who needed to be civilized by U.S. imperialism. And by the way, Trump also, during the war, the NATO war in Libya in 2011, which France played a key role, he said that the U.S. should bomb Libya and take its oil, which also was the exact same thing that Neera Tanden said, the Hillary Clinton surrogate who was at the Center for American Progress. So like, I mean, the idea that Trump is like the lesser evil because he's supposedly anti-war is exactly the same kind of rhetoric that Tulsi Gabbard does. It's a political sleight of hand. And in my view, what they have been doing, this has been an orchestrated political campaign to co-opt genuine anti-war energy and to sheepdog it into the Republican Party. It's the exact opposite of the lesser evilism that Democrats have done for so many years. But now what they're saying is the Republicans are the lesser evil.
Yeah.
I can see that. I mean, I can absolutely see that, because if you notice, like a lot of, you know, us independent media people, it almost seems like when we're watching them and they're talking anti-war, they're like automatically put into the same genre of Republicans because they're anti-war. And I could see the Republicans trying to sheepdog people into that. But I can also see other people, because they listen to that, seeing independent media people as sheep herders for the, you know, for the Republican Party. So I can, yeah, it's exactly a political sleight of hand. They're omitting is what they're doing. They're just not saying that part out loud while trying to get people to come in. And you could see it though. I mean, too, like even people like Jimmy Dore, people are like, you know, he's going more on, geez, I keep hitting my microphone. He was going on Tucker Carlson. So people are like, oh, you're a Republican now. And the Republicans are like, yeah, we'll take in Jimmy Dore. That's, you know, that's totally awesome. He's one of our people now. So I could see how that's all happening, while even behind the scenes, they're actually still, you know, doing the stuff and have always still done the stuff. So, you've been enjoying it, but there are so many shows to track. Is it 7 days a week or is this a special? I do this 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. So today's, I believe it is Friday today, right? Yeah. So I won't be back on again until Monday. So I take the weekend off. But you can see me over at Warren's show tomorrow, Extra Boya, over at his show. We do it at, what is it, like midnight Eastern? So it's completely opposite of this. This show I do here in America, I do it early in the morning, but with Warren's show, it's super late at night in America. So yeah, I know I do this 5 days a week. So today's the last day of the week. I'm going to do it, and then I'll be back on Monday.
Today, why are you criticizing, you know, DeSantis and buying into this lesser evilism? I'm criticizing DeSantis because I'm not buying into this lesser evilism. I don't, you know, is on Joe Rogan, Gabbard, you know, sort of agreed with Rogan that DeSantis was the most reasonable guy around. You know, the left makes him look reasonable, and not even that, just he is a reasonable guy who should be, you know, who's a likely prospect to come to power. And DeSantis, of course, got his, you know, he was a lawyer in Guantanamo Bay, supposedly advocating for detainee rights back in 2006. You know, I'd love to see how exactly forceful his advocacy was for them. You know, he served in Iraq. He was a combat soldier in Iraq. He you know, or at least he presented himself as one in his campaign posters, posing with a gun. He very recently has called for more pressure on Iran. He talks warmly about how this pressure on Iran will make our Gulf allies, you know, very happy. He's a complete neocon. There's no question about it. There's no debate about it.
Ron DeSantis tried to make BDS, the boycott sanctions and boycott investment sanctions movement against apartheid Israel. He tried to make it illegal in Florida as Florida governor, and he boasted. He said, "When I'm as governor of Florida, as long as I'm governor, BDS will not be allowed." Talk about cancel culture. I mean, he's like tried to demonize gay people, LGBT people. He's pushed like this groomers narrative, which is extremely insulting. Like, yeah. And meanwhile, he's literally trying to cancel people who believe in Palestinian rights.
Yeah, and as to the point about Bolton, it's particularly egregious
because
of any
cancel
position in the
culture is
cabinet
on
that
all sides. Everybody likes cancel culture until it's on your own side. These people love this shit, but when it's their own, they don't like it. They claim, "Oh, I'm being canceled," but they love cancel culture, especially if it benefits them.
if you're concerned about nuclear war today, he deserves a huge amount of blame for that. We're closer to it than ever because of moving away from diplomacy on reducing nuclear weapons and ending dialogue on that. And I think this is a sort of a good point to get into NATO, because you said Trump ran as this anti-interventionist, and a big thing he was accused of being by sort of the DC Democrat Republican blob was of being anti-NATO. But was he actually anti-NATO? Because his whole complaint was that NATO wasn't paying enough and they're ripping the United States off, and that because they should pay the 2% of their GDP each, that they're required to, all the members. And guess what happened? He put this pressure on them, and a lot of the country of the member states increased their commitment to NATO funding. That was the actual effect of Trump's supposed anti-NATO position.
Was
more
strengthening
funding for NATO.
It was strengthening NATO.
And that was the result, and that's the result now. That's Trump's influence on NATO.
So now, of course, we see that there's a split going on between, and the Republicans, between Trump and DeSantis. We see people, even Alex Jones, who's himself a very shady operative as well. And actually Alex Jones is a great example of this attempt to try to co-opt popular discontent and dissent, and people rightfully being skeptical of the government and skeptical of war, and trying to co-opt it and turn it to like the far right direction. Alex Jones is a case study of that. Just classic fascist scapegoating tactics and misdirection and sheepdogging. But so anyway, the point is that Alex Jones and others, they've all come out now for Ron DeSantis, who's a complete neocon. Like in no way can you even claim that he's like so-called anti-interventionist. He supports war on China. He supports war on Iran. He supports the brutal economic blockade of Venezuela. He supports the blockade on Cuba, where every single year at the United Nations, more than 95% of UN member states vote against the illegal unilateral US blockade on Cuba. So meanwhile, Joe Rogan, who's another one of these characters who he'll sometimes go with the left, but he'll often go with the right, and increasingly more and more with the right. And he has on all these charlatans, Ben Shapiro, and he has on Jordan Peterson, who says the problem is not, neoliberalism. The problem is not economics, capitalism. The problem is
Man, I'm right there with you. You don't even know. I start at 10 a.m. here, and probably right around this time, 12:30, I'm fucking exhausted and ready to take a nap, but I still have an hour and a half left. I think starting, what is it? It's the 11th. Starting next week, I might be able to do maybe a 2.5, 2 hour, maybe 3 hour show instead of 4 hours. Because okay, really quick, the reason why I did this, this whole 4 hour show here at KRTD is because we only had one content creator. We dropped down to one, and it was Joe Evans, and that was it. That's all we had for content creation here. Starting on October 1st, I believe, right around the beginning of October. So me being here at KRTD and working with Shane, we're well, holy shit, we need, some content and stuff. And I was already doing the news show here. I was doing it for months and months with Warren every morning at 10 a.m. It was only an hour long. We'd get 4 articles and talk about them. But I didn't really I was doing it by myself, and it was feeling a lot extremely professional. And I just couldn't keep face anymore. And so I asked Shane, I said, look, we've got one streamer streaming 1 day a week. We need some more content, and I can't, keep doing the news all super proper and stuff. I need to be able to at least start feeling comfortable in front of the camera before I even start, putting on some kind of professional face. It was just really, really hard. And so I started doing this show. I was like, look, Shane, I'm just going to do a show called What? It has multiple meanings. We could talk about anything, because it's literally, you're asking what about everything. And I'll just do it 5 days a week, 4 hours a day. That way we've got more than enough content to help us keep surviving until we have some more content streamers or content creators on here at KRTD. So pretty much what I've been doing since then. So starting the beginning of October, I've just been streaming 4 hours a day, Monday through Friday, to give us some content. We're also trying really hard just within the last month and a half or so to start getting we started working on trying to get up to 1,000 subscribers so we can get monetized, because we've got no way of no like form of any kind of donation access for us over here to even get some more things like the StreamYard subscriptions, and even like just headphones or something, you know, for like our content creators to help them out. So I've just been doing that. Now we've got Joe wants to start doing his show twice a week now, which I believe he's going to do Tuesdays and Thursdays in the evening time. And then we've got a new kid starting this week. His name is Denard English. He's going to be doing 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. And then that'll give me enough time to maybe cut down my shows like an hour or two. So that way I've got enough time when I'm done with my show. Because once I'm done with this 4-hour show, I download the whole video and I start clipping it out of sections of each of the articles or the videos that I watch. I clip those out, throw an intro and outro, make a thumbnail, upload them to YouTube, and schedule them out for throughout the day. But with them starting their shows at the evening time, I'm going to need to be able to clip my videos out earlier to get them out earlier. That way they still have their show uninterrupted when they do their show starting this week. So I might be able to take down some time and do a lot less than what I've been doing, because 4 hours feels like a lot. It really does. I thought I was like, I can handle this, I can do this. But being a one-woman production show right now, it's a lot. I definitely bit off more than I can chew. So I'm for sure going to start probably doing maybe like an hour or two less once these other guys start their shows. So I'm just trying to hook up KRTD and help them out and give them some content, or give us some content. So that way we're, you know, continuing. So yeah. Okay, let's finish this or continue this.
But anyway, so
but sure, but yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, so completely anti-materialist analysis of anything political. But here's this clip of Joe Rogan. You clip this out of Tulsi Gabbard agreeing with Joe Rogan that Ron DeSantis is more reasonable than anyone on the left.
Ron DeSantis
It is crazy.
The most reasonable amongst the potential candidates. He seems to be, you know, a pretty no-nonsense guy, not without his flaws, but he's more reasonable than anything that I'm seeing on the left.
Yeah.
It's well documented that the Iran deal flushed them with cash. They're saber rattling in terms of doing ballistic missile tests, which the Obama administration basically let them get away with. I think NSC advisor Flynn's statement was important because it says we're going to stop the policy of letting Iran get away with more belligerent behavior after more belligerent behavior, just so we can keep this Iran nuclear deal, this piece of paper, intact. I think that they're going to be tougher on Iran, and I think our Gulf allies will be very happy to see that.
Ron DeSantis, who seems to be like the most reasonable amongst the.
Oh my God. So, I mean, to me, that should be so just discrediting. Like, this guy's a complete neocon. But for me, it shows the success of this operation. It's very sad. They have been extremely successful in trying to rebrand these right-wingers, these Republicans, as the actual so-called anti-war voices, and try to co-opt a lot of that energy that was in the anti-war movement, which has never been that big. But the anti-war movement, in my view, has been so destabilized by this because there are so many, especially young people, who are just confused, and they do see that it's correct that pretty much all Democrats, with a very few exceptions, are pretty pro-war and pro-imperialist, which is very sad. And this is true in Europe as well. All of like the old school social democratic parties, which have never been good, but they're all just pro-imperialist, they're pro-NATO. And then there's like a few people on the right who try to, like, they'll throw out a few buzzwords claiming that they're against like globalism or whatever, which is also like anti-Semitic buzzword. It doesn't mean anything. They never talk about empire or imperialism or capitalism. It's always globalism. And they've been very successful in convincing a lot of people that if you're anti-war, you need to also basically be a conservative. It's really weird.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of that in France, which I've covered a bit. There were two candidates in the last election, Eric Zemmour and Marine Le Pen. Marine Le Pen, obviously more prominent, but Zemmour is this longtime cable news pundit. They always compare him to Tucker Carlson in the news articles because I think he is more of an intellectual, for whatever that's worth. He's a writer. He writes a lot of books. He's much more evil, maybe, but he's not an idiot. And he's been a long time alleged critic of NATO and the European Union. You know, he'll serve up these criticisms that are of, for instance, the European Union that are completely reasonable. He'll say that the EU promises nothing but austerity and, you know, no employment, a reduction of employment, etc. But at the same time, he'll say the real problem in Europe is also they're promoting multiculturalism and LGBT ideology, and that's the reason why, you know, like for instance, Ukrainians in the East were rejecting it back in 2014. That it was this godless secularism that really repelled people when it came to the European Union. And he also claims to be against NATO. And there's a big history of this in France, which I think sort of serves as a warning to people who might be encouraged by the sort of more prominence of people on the right in America to criticize some of these international institutions. Like in France, Charles de Gaulle, who was the war hero of the resistance, that's a whole other history. He played less of a role, I think, than people attribute to him, but he became president of the Fifth Republic, which was formed years after the World War II ended, but he managed to unite like a fractured parliamentary landscape where there was no one force that could actually come to power. And he is now this sort of secular saint in France. You see streets named after him everywhere, metro stations, everywhere in the country. Nobody can really criticize him. He's like George Washington, but if George Washington had been alive when your grandparents were, these fond memories really exist of him. And he took France out of NATO, is what they say. Famously, he had this conflict with America. He had a conflict with the British Empire, the American Empire, because he wanted to preserve the French Empire. And he believed during the war that Roosevelt and Churchill were going to take this opportunity of, fighting off Germany and liberating those territories and keep them for themselves instead of giving them back to the French Empire. So there's always this history. And eventually, he did leave the Integrated Military Command of NATO in 1966, which is not the same as leaving NATO.
No, it's really cool that you do that. I think it's awesome. Because I used to do that for my friends too, who had Twitters or had, things like that. And I think it's just so cool. Like, here, you guys want to see this? I'm going to bring it up again for you. I think it's super, super neat that you do that on your TV. I used to, like I said, I used to do this for my friends too. It's so cool. I absolutely love it. It's so funny to see myself on a TV. It's absolutely wild. It's so cool though. Thank you so much. I super appreciate everything that you do. You're a rock star. You really, really are. Let's get back. Okay. I almost lost it. Oh no. I.E. Penn said she would get France out of NATO.
Left out of a lot of these critiques. Though Zemmour is interesting because he acknowledges it and he explains very well in his books why de Gaulle left NATO. And it's not because de Gaulle was really an enemy of the foreign policy.
It is. It's so sweet.
The warmongering of NATO. He still actually worked with NATO, France. So even though they took French staff away from the headquarters of the NATO command structure, they still had French personnel at NATO's political headquarters in Brussels, and they had liaison offices, and they worked out secret arrangements with NATO in case of war, of course, with the Soviet Union. And in the 90s, when NATO invaded Yugoslavia, French forces were involved, and France was part of the NATO military committee. And so the real reason that Zemmour articulates is that de Gaulle wasn't on board with this idea that if you're part of NATO, your armaments, you have to purchase your armaments from the United States. That was a big reason, and still is a big reason, why NATO wants these increased spending commitments, because you need to have NATO standardized weaponry, NATO standardized ammunition, and when European countries contribute more to the NATO budget, it goes directly to American arms manufacturers, more or less. And de Gaulle wanted an armaments industry in France itself, and to take economic advantage of that. And that's the basis of Zemmour's opposition to it as well. He has no real, what would you say? He has no real opposition to war. His defense policy. It's for the volunteer fire department. Okay, he has no real opposition to war. Zemmour's defense policy calls for recruiting 50,000 more soldiers. He wanted to raise the budget by 3.6 billion euros a year. He wants the defense budget by 2030 to be 70 billion a year, which I guess doesn't sound much compared to the United States, but it's a lot more than it is in France. And in African military bases, where France maintains its network of neo-colonies, he wanted to double the number of troops from 7,000 to 14,000. And so I think what people need to get about this opposition to NATO is maybe if you support these people, they'll oppose the drive to war in Ukraine because it serves a limited foreign policy objective of theirs. But you got to see what else they're trying to get for, because I don't agree with more French troops in Africa. I don't agree with a much larger French military budget. And Marine Le Pen does the same thing. She too does not actually call for France's removal from the alliance. She calls for France's removal from the Integrated Military Command. And, she, during her campaign, made these same pitches. We should leave NATO because France's military is being degraded. They say, oh, we don't have enough ammunition in the French military. If a war started, we'd be out of armaments within days. You hear the same type of things from conservative critics of, like, even Obama, that they're degrading the military. Trump would say the same thing. How can you be against war when you're devoted to increasing the destructive capacity of the most bloodthirsty armies in the world? You can't.
Yeah, it's this very narrow, self-centered, supposed critique of war, or even fake critique of imperialism. They say, well, the reason that we're against U.S. imperialism is because we want French imperialism to be stronger. They don't want French imperialism to be subordinated to U.S. imperialism. I should point out for people listening or watching that you actually wrote a book about Zemmour and Gaullism, published by EBB Books, which is a great anti-imperialist leftist publisher. And this actually gets me to a topic an issue that I wanted to bring up, which is related to this, which is how there's a sleight of hand that's done where people like Tucker Carlson or Trump or Marine Le Pen they will say, yeah, we don't want this war with Russia. We don't want this war in Ukraine. But that's because they want war with China. And this is exactly, for instance, Meloni, the new far-right leader in Italy as well. She's very close to the Taiwan lobby and has pledged more support for Taiwan separatism and basically war on China. And of course, this is bipartisan in the U.S. We saw, Biden has repeatedly threatened war with China over Taiwan, which the U.S. technically recognizes as part of China and the One China policy, according to the three communiques signed when the U.S. normalized relations with China in the 70s. But the U.S. violates that policy. But this reminds me, I did an episode with Robbie Martin, and we talked about Tucker Carlson, and we showed the video clips in which Tucker Carlson says this clearly. He says, our enemy is not Russia, our enemy is China. And Marine Le Pen said the same thing. She said the reason that she doesn't want war with Russia is because she wants to unite the Judeo-Christian West against China. Here's Politico. Le Pen vows to keep Russia close to prevent an alliance with China. Now, they see Russia as like an ally because they see it as like a white country, as a Christian country. It's Christian Orthodox. They see Russia as like a conservative bastion. Unfortunately, Russia does have like a lot of anti-LGBT policies. So they I think that's a good thing, right? And they see Russia as like this beacon against so-called globalism and China as the real enemy. So once again, we see that this popular energy that should be against war and empire, we shouldn't be fueling this proxy war in Ukraine, in which Ukrainians are pushed into a meat grinder in order to try to bleed Russia, as Lloyd Austin said, to weaken Russia. NATO should not exist. But that doesn't mean that the solution to that is instead waging war in China. So once again, it's always redirecting popular energy that is good. We want people to speak out against this proxy war with Russia, but redirecting it into a whole other war. Instead of saying we don't want any war, it's no, we're waging war on the wrong country. And this is very common in Europe as well, as I'm sure you know. It's not just Tucker Carlson in the U.S. and Trump.
Yeah, it's increasing even just the past few years. When I was in France in 2020, I bought a Huawei phone, and now that I'm back in the U.S., I had to buy a new phone. Huawei phones don't work; they get kicked off the grid. When I was there, they were building. I think Huawei was building a lot of the 5G towers, but France cut off the contract because they're bound to the sort of drive to war against them. Even though some people think Europe will be a little more nuanced because of trade, but I think a lot of that is shifting because of the war. The situation was really changed in Europe after February 24th. There's really a unification of the Atlantic alliance and the Atlantic objectives, whether or not people in Europe want that. That's all what it's oriented towards again. And like you said, Maloney, all these people we're talking about, I oppose for political reasons that are not just their foreign policy positions. I find them reprehensible and vile for a million reasons. But a lot of people say, even if you oppose them for those, shouldn't we ally contingently based on certain positions? And I don't think we I don't think we should in the first place. But if you accept that we should, I think it's important that you make this distinction that they are driving for war all over the world. There's no question.
I feel like I'm just watching this show. They're making such great points. I don't feel like I need to say anything. This is really, really good journalism. A lot of really good work here. I feel like I should just be watching his show on my own time, because I can't say anything else. Everything he's saying is really good. I'll think of something to say, and then literally a split second later, he'll say it. And so I know if I say it, then they're going to repeat it. And then, but they're definitely talking some real good stuff right here. Let's see about the, let's do the egg one. Maybe I can get off early today.
Security scare for King Charles and his wife Camilla today as...
Shush. Okay.
Security scare for King Charles and his wife Camilla today as
a
they were
security
pelted
scare
with eggs during a public appearance. It comes as the Netflix series The Crown releases its 5th season, which recreates Princess Diana's headline-making revenge dress to a T.
King Charles gets pelted by eggs. He and Queen Consort Camilla had just arrived for an official visit to the city of York when a protester from somewhere in that crowd started hurling eggs at them. This woman from his entourage tried to swat the eggs away. Thankfully, none of the eggs hit their targets. Police promptly arrested this protester. The security scare comes on the very day the 5th season of The Crown was released on Netflix. One highlight is Princess Diana's daring black revenge dress she wore the same night Prince Charles publicly confessed on TV to being unfaithful to her with Camilla.
Did you try to be faithful and honorable to your wife when you took on the vow of marriage?
Yes, absolutely.
And you were?
Yes.
Fucking liar, the little fucking smirk on his face. I wish an egg would have hit that mouth.
Till it became irretrievably broken down.
The off-the-shoulder dress with an asymmetrical hemline above the knee caused a sensation in 1994 because it was such a sexy departure for the usually demure, shy-die princess. Now it's causing a stir again on The Crown.
The Princess of Wales upstaged her husband this evening, putting on a defiant display in what many are already calling her revenge dress.
That dress was sold at a charity auction for $65,000 in 1997.
How are you going to go from
and
the
stored.
egg talk to this dress? So the news is so random.
Some breaking news to bring you now from York, where a man has been arrested after apparently trying to throw an egg at King Charles during a visit to the city of York. He's there with Camilla, Queen Consort. We understand from the reports that we've got that large crowds clearly gathered. You can see them there. But at least one egg supposedly landed very close to King Charles. Police officers, quick to the scene where they were able to tackle the man in the crowd. Let's speak to our correspondent, Fiona Trott, who's in York. Fiona, tell us more about what's been going on.
Well, as you said there, a man being detained, questioned by North Yorkshire police at the moment. We're hearing about the incident about half a mile away from here on the other side of the city, that some eggs were thrown at the King and the Queen Consort. So police investigating that incident at the moment. They didn't hit the royal couple. This happened about half a mile away from here, the York Minster. The King and the Queen Consort made their way from Micklegate here to the cathedral. They arrived here about 5 minutes ago. Inside the Minster, they're taking part in a short service of prayer at the moment. Thousands of people have lined the streets around the Minster here this morning, and they're waiting for the couple to come out of the cathedral later, where there'll be an unveiling of a statue of the late Queen Elizabeth. You should see it behind my shoulder here now. It has a purple cover over it at the moment. It feels like a very personal moment for the King, of course. This will be the first statue that will be unveiled since the late Queen passed away. And of course, many memories here of the Queen too in York. So very poignant time here in the city today, but also a celebration of her life and looking forward to the future too, because this all resembles part of a regeneration of the York Minster too. There's going to be a square that will be opened here in the future, the first civic square, public square in the city for 200 years, and that will also be called Queen Elizabeth Square. So sort of celebration of the old and the new here in the city today, marking a new chapter for York. But certainly here this morning, a lot of crowds, thousands of people gathered outside York Minster, waiting for the King and the Queen Consort to come out of that service, where they'll be speaking to members of the public. We heard about that incident about half a mile away from here at Micklegate when they arrived in the city, a man being detained by North Yorkshire police after.
Okay, we're gonna look at the. I'm trying to look for the arrest video of the guy. Detained. Guy throw eggs at King. Arrested. Like I wanna see the because you were saying something about the video about the guy saying something when he was being arrested, and nobody is showing that part, which is wild. Like, where is that part? No, that's a short. Come on, start working. Why do you gotta
The
act like
moment
this?
captured by the crowds. Hurling eggs and abuse, the protester is surrounded and quickly brought down. Carried away through the rows of royal fans.
The police are on him immediately. The people are grabbing him. He's pinned to the fence, getting thrown straight on the floor.
Lewis was stood next to the protester and saw it all.
I was stood next to the lamppost, and the guy was stood next to us, and we were laughing and joking about how the music was going to pick off. And then when the king actually got out, he started throwing eggs, and everything just kind of went to pot.
Yeah, I was right behind you.
Nigel was also nearby.
And then all of a sudden, the eggs started coming over the top. But we never had this in our time.
If the king was irked, it didn't show as he unveiled a statue.
Yeah, he literally like just didn't even move at all, like, or it didn't even like bother him one bit. Police pounce and arrest protester. Is this gonna be it? I swear, like, nobody wants to give us the video of the guy being arrested. Like, from what I saw, there was actual video of, like, actual citizens that were holding him down until the police got him, which is bullshit. They should have let him run.
Solidarity with all people who are going to fight for freedom.
Solidarity for all the people who are fighting for freedom. Fuck yeah. Down with the monarchy. Woo! Fuck kings and queens. That's a waste of eggs. They should have thrown shit instead. I mean, it probably would have, like, you know, made a better statement for sure. And it probably would have actually hit him because the eggs didn't even hit the guy. The guy missed. Just bullshit. You're spelling eggs wrong. See, eggs throw a video. There's got to be a video. Come on. if you're gonna get arrested, go shit or go home. Right, exactly. A man arrested. Is this it? Come on. Is that all the guy was saying? Was that right there? The solidarity thing? Was that it? Because I swear he was saying something while he was being handcuffed on the ground. He was like screaming something, but I can't find it. Oh, geez. Mom goes viral with ugly baby video. Yeah, I don't know where the video of the guy being arrested. Guy throw eggs arrested video. You spell eggs the way Jimmy says it. His training. Oh yeah, the stiff upper lip. Yeah. Usually when people smirk like that when they're saying something, it usually means that they know something that you don't know, like they're hiding something. So, yeah, I don't trust him anyway. Jerk. Fuck this old man. Oh, here's like him being tackled. Were there people saying hip hip hooray? Oh, this shit is too much. It's so funny how like the older people were like, I have never experienced anything like this in my life. And you're just like, oh geez, that's because you people like pathetically fawned over the Queen of England for in your monarchies for so fucking long that it's like ingrained in you, and these kids just don't give a f anymore. He was see, he was lying face down in the grass but spoke like a champ. Yeah. Face down. Let's see if we can find that. Like, nobody wants to show that video. Where's the video of that part? That's what I'm talking about. That's the one I was saying. He was like on the ground being handcuffed. He was screaming something. He was like legit about it.
Calm yourself down. Calm yourself down. Your arm, release. Your arm, release your arm. You got it, you alright? Anyone else? That's all right, you're alright, you. Alright.
See, that's what I was talking about. How there was like this guy right here with the hat. There was like citizens who were actually holding him down until the cops got there, which is bullshit. I think they should have let him run. They should have just let him run.
You just need to explain it for everybody. Listen to me. Listen to me. Get out of the way now. Move. Spoilers, move out of the way now. Clear over, please. Come through, please.
They skipped it. It's like they're purposely not showing it. It really feels like they're really purposely not showing it.
Solidarity with all people who have fight for freedom.
Like where? Like where did that part go? They're really trying to hide it. Like we're really not allowed to see it at all. That's crazy. Yeah, you're right. He was like you say, he was laying face down in the grass, but was speaking like a champ. He was saying some really cool stuff. And now I can't find the video. Ain't that some shit? That's crazy. I can't find it. I can't even like think of something to type into it. I have no fucking clue what to even type in there. Oh man. That poor guy though. I hope he doesn't do like a lot of time or anything. I hope he can get out soon. Probably get some fines maybe, which is going to suck. That really does suck. All right. I think I can get out of here an hour early today, you guys, because I'm literally out of stuff to talk about, and it's already almost 1. Oh. So, okay, so Warren is not doing a show tonight, so I think like Political Matrix should be on. Who else is going to be on tonight? I'm pretty sure INN will be on tonight as well. Just no Warren tonight. But I will be back onto his show tomorrow night. And then I'm gonna have my weekend off. And then I will be back on Monday, but I'm probably going to be clipping some of this stuff out from today if I can. Hoping I can. Hoping it wasn't too much of a mess today to where I can't cut anything. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, you're right. I might do a little bit shorter time just, you know, for my own mental health. But yeah, keep your eye out for, Political Matrix is going to be on tonight as well. I know they come on Friday nights, I believe. So just keep your eye out for all the people that we're all subscribed to. You know how we all are. And then I will see you all in comment section tonight. And Les Bones, I will see you in the video game. I'm going to probably start playing once I'm done editing videos. So if you want to hang out, let me know. Okay. I think I can get out of here early today. Just don't tell Shane. Marcus is going to be on Sabby Sabs tonight. Ooh. Okay, so keep your eye out for Sabby Sabs because Marcus from the Political Matrix is going to be there. Okay, Political Matrix is going to be tomorrow night. Okay. But that's going to be cool to see him on Sabby Sabs. That's really awesome of him. I love that for him. That's super, super cool. Okay. Let me get out of here. I'm about to pee my pants again. If you guys have any ideas for articles or things to talk about on the show, please feel free to send them. Thank you for everybody that has been sending them today. Huge, huge help in getting some of the time passed because I was super behind this week. So thank you all, and hope to see you all soon. Go check out all of the people that we're watching. I'm pretty sure Heartlands Media is going to be on today at 2. And I know Nikki's probably going to be on today as well. You're also trying to find that clip. I'm telling you, it's got to be gone. It has to be gone. Like they're hiding it or something. So, no, I get it. All right. Catch you all later. Have a good weekend. Stay safe. Make good choices. And I will see you all again soon. Bye.